Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're going to give a few minutes for some more people to jump on. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys for joining. All right, Greg, we're on. We have 21 people so far.
Hey, 21 people. What y'all doing? Excuse me, because I just had a donut bar. But you know, I ain't gonna have no more food until activate. Getting that out the way. Um, I watch guys, so I'm
I got you. I want to be able to see it.
Go ahead. Let's kind of music on. All right, y'all. So I know everybody is excited to get the certification, get this amino release on that menu. Hey, everybody that's chilling at home on your off day, thank you so much for joining us today. We're gonna have a great class, and hopefully this is so interactive, it feels like it's fun. Okay. So this is my model. I'm gonna get right into the practical portion. And while she has her 20 minutes that needs to sit in the hair, we're gonna go over the formulation, everything you can use the amino release for, and why it's so revolutionary. Okay. Now, first, this is assessing Lindsay's hair. I always want to go in with the consultation first. I still do consultations. I feel like the consultation is very important. This determines how you need to customize your amino release for that client, because it is customizable. It's a great thing. And one of the key things that keeps it different, set apart from other smoothing treatments. So her curl pattern is curly. You can see that this is her natural curl pattern. It's still wet, so I have not applied the amino release here at all. And so all we did was the prep work, which is using our collagen shampoo and conditioner system before, so that we can prepare the canvas. Okay, so it can receive that amino release properly. And so what I want to do first is just go through the steps on how you do the application. You can see this is her curl pattern, and then this is the result. And she needs a trim. Okay, so you can see where she needs to trim at, but still, if she wrap that, get some saran wrap tied up, it still will smooth out the lean, you know. And also, I'll note that this is no product, no crystal gloss, no diamond drops at all. It's just the cream boost leave-in conditioner before the blow dry and in the seal of the thermal heat. Okay. So this is still wet. I want to kind of protect this and keep it out the way. I'm gonna just put this real quick. Now, most of you all have come because you are ready to increase the profit in the healthy hair category, right? Because we are some of the last of the Mohicans. We out here doing real hair, out here doing healthy hair. Now, the great thing too is that if you are a healthy hair stylist, you've learned a really good and proper way of applying protective styling and extensions without compromising the health of the hair. But one of the great things about amino release and adding that to your repertoire is that it's also going to give you that support, because it really helps strengthen and helps encourage length retention. So when you have a hair leave out, it's stronger than it would be without it. All right, so I see if it's time how we do that. Make sure we get all the angles here. Guess I should have had it outside. One thing about that part. So we have our section here. It's still a little damp, but the key factor is keeping this moist. So I do keep a water bottle on hand while I'm doing the application, and just a light little misting just to make sure it's nice and wet. And one thing is, when the amino release is applied to the hair, you don't want it to dry out. You want it to stay moist until you take her to the bowl to rinse it. So we got some good moisture going on. Now, I will section out the hair into 4 quadrants in the beginning. So you can see this is just one quadrant that I left out. And I like to stay very organized because it just makes everything easy, efficient. I get through them really quickly. So this is this one top quadrant, and I will subdivide using subsections to start my application. They can be about 2 to 3 inches wide, you know, and so that is determined too on the density and the size of the egg. Because you know everybody different. So And so now, before I even start on each quadrant, I will apply some of the cream boost. The cream boost is great because it balances the pH for one. So it can be used for multiple different things. If you're color processing, if you're working with wet hair, and you need to make sure that the pH is where it needs to be at, you can use the cream boost. And I just do a few little squirts to start on that section. Some people will just go throughout the head with the cream boost, and you can do that. But I find it works better when you just apply to each quadrant before you begin that quadrant. And it really helps with slip too. So when you're moving through the hair. Now, I'm gonna go over the steps that I did in prep again, while she's processing, but what's good to know is that she did also get a condition. So we shampooed, we conditioned, rinsed, and then brought her back for the 4 quadrants. Most smoothing, this will replace your conditioner, but in this case, it won't. You still want all the magic of the conditioner to go with it. And so from this point, I will apply my cream boost. Now I need some gloves. And with the gloves, it's important just because certain stylists might have sensitive skin, and it's acidic. So, if you ever peeled an orange and the orange peel dry out your finger that you peeled it with, it's the same thing. So it's still not a chemical, but we just don't want to dry hand. That's all. Because we're working with 1.8 to 2 pH level. Okay. So we closing it down. That cuticle, we know acidic will contract and close, alkaline will expand and open. So 1.8 to 2, let's close it down. Okay. So this is highly, highly concentrated. So you don't, a little bit goes a long way. Depending on the density of the hair and the client and the length really determines through your professional judgment how much you feel you need. The more you do this system, the more it gets familiar with you and you kind of understand after a while, and it'll be like second nature. The first one, I always start with 1 full pump close to the root. Okay, I don't know if they can see this.
You can see.
They can? Okay.
I can't see anything.
I can't see anything.
Right, you only seeing me from this camera? This one, I'm pointing.
Yes.
Okay, so if
I
we
can't see anything. Yeah, I don't see the
Yeah,
demonstration at all.
clean is black.
we might need to move it back so they can get like a
Me too.
wide. Because if this is the only camera they can see out of, then
If your screen is black, you might need to log out and log back in. That's what I had to do.
Okay, let me
so
log out.
y'all see now?
Okay.
I'm gonna log out because it's just black. So I'm gonna log out and come back in.
Y'all good? Y'all
Yeah,
good?
we
Show of
can see.
hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see.
Cool. So as I said before, highly concentrated. We're gonna go through with 1 pump across the top. Very simple, right? Take your hand from that point and just kind of emulsify it a little bit around the edges, because the edges. Okay, don't play on the edges now. That'd be the first sign. She like, it ain't work, it ain't work. Like, baby, I know it work. So this is our release brush. The release brush is good for detangling, that kind of thing. I like the brush, however, to be mindful when you're wearing gloves because it gets slippery. It's really a preference of yours what you want to use. You can also use a paddle brush to pull it through. When the hair has that much length too, sometimes you might want a quarter of a little pump just to make sure every piece is getting some. Now that depends on length. Now, if her hair was a lot shorter, she probably wouldn't need that little extra pump right there. Now, this is going to really determine the rest of the application for that quadrant. But as I was saying, you can use a paddle brush if you want to. You can also use a fine tooth comb if you feel like that's better, or you can really move through that hair. And, one of our educators, Nikki, she likes to just really get it in with the hand. You know, so that, I only recommend the hand if you're working fast, you gotta go. You know, but I like that nice, thorough brush through because you're making sure that you're getting all that product in there. Now, the product should not be building up either in the brush. Okay, so when you are going through, you want to just make sure that it's getting on all the strands, but there's no excess of product. If there's an excess of product, it's okay because we are still going to rinse her, but it's not necessary because when she's processing for the 20 minutes, and I only say processing because it has to sit and move into the shaft. But when that time is going on, the hair will absorb as much as it can. And anything that it doesn't absorb will stay on the outside surface of the strand. So that's why if you move without doing the rinse, and you feel like it's a little gritty, it's because that's the amino relief that did not absorb into the strand and could be moved away, you know? Y'all got that too. I can't forget about y'all now.
And any questions, y'all can drop it in the chat and I'll be monitoring for everybody.
Thank you. Now, also,
Thumbs up.
if it start, thank you. It starts getting a little, you know, you got your water bottle, want to keep it moist. Okay. And so this next section, which was about the same size, I'm just going in first and mirroring some of that product into that section. And I'm probably gonna do another pump at the very top. Okay, so that's how concentrated this is. It's almost like you are looking to have a thin layer or thin coating. But you wanna make sure you also are getting it on all the strands. So I do a couple different, you know, throughs. And the moisture is helping that product spread. Okay, so that's nice and coated. Now this final one, and that's how quick and easy it can be. This final one is a little thicker, so I know I want to go in with a full pump across that top. Now I didn't reach, just to, you know, so just be mindful of the application in that way. Making sure I get the edges, honey. And then because our hair was long, I'm gonna just do a half pump at the bottom. Make sure we're getting all of that. So now I could take some of that last section and start mirroring that in together. So if you want to use a paddle brush too, sometimes you can, because you have that handle grit up. It's usually too when you have that long hair. Sometimes you have shorter hair too, and that's just very easy to get through. So you see how I'm starting to spread it down and just moving it down the strand. I hope y'all can see.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yes.
Good morning, Greg. Good morning, everybody.
Is that Devin?
It is.
Oh,
Hey, Whoop.
what's up, Devin?
Hey, Whoop.
Devin, one of the stylists that worked at my salon.
I do have a question.
Okay.
When you put the pump, when you do the one pump, like on that last section, and you feel like, oh, it might be a little dry on the ends, did you put a pump on that end, or did you kind of spray it with a little bit of water to help to disperse it?
Right. If there's already a lot of product on there, just a little spray or even the cream boost you can use just to make sure that it's spreading down to the ends. But it won't hurt to add an extra pump because you still got to do your rinse. So whatever
Got you.
is not absorbed into the hair will just sit on the cuticle. So you'll be rinsing what's not used anyway off.
Okay,
So
great.
you don't have to be too scared about using too much, but you don't need a lot because you'll just be wasting your product.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So y'all notice that I'm just combing this a couple times. Really want to make sure we're nice and saturated with the product. Lindsay, am I toothbrush? Okay. But I think you had to lean on the neck. I don't know.
I have a question.
Greg, I know, we talked about rinse, but there's some people that went to the masterclass before that learned the express method. Do you want to talk about the different?
Right, okay. Yeah, so before we talked about not rinsing, but that's why we kind of switched off to it being customizable. Because if you really mind how much you're using and you are in a hurry, you don't necessarily have to rinse it out. You can move into your blow dry, but I don't think that works when you are really thorough about not excessive application. You know, it's just like a thin coating. I think it comes after a few applications, you kind of get the feel and you'll know like how that hair should feel after you've done some successful ones over a course of time. So that's for the girls that are really rushing through, or you have your curly girls. So your curly girl washing though, after this point, we'll go right into a blow dry, you know, and then after that blow dry, you'll re-wet the hair down and then apply your product or however you like to do the curls from that point, wet set, dry set, whatever. So right now, I'm just covering it with a little bit of a saran wrap so it can stay covered. This helps it to stay moist. It should stay moist throughout the whole time. You can use this opportunity to put her under a steamer if you want to. If you're gonna do a steamer, then it's definitely to be okay with a little bit of excess product. You know, because you got the moisture jumping off, this helping to dilute it a little bit too. I always feel like putting them under the steamer for the 20 minutes, when we set a 20-minute timer,
Got you.
it's just part of the experience because they can have something where they can zone out for a minute. The hair is still receiving a lot of moisture, you know, and you can do your other stuff that you got to do. Okay, so I know we work with other clients. You might have to layer relaxing.
One question in the chat.
Yes.
When shampooing the hair, as we only use clarifying. Okay, so they're asking about shampoos. What shampoos do we use? Clarifying and hydrating? Do we add a conditioner before or after the amino treatment?
Right, so I'm about to get into that right now. But you want to use the collagen shampoo and conditioning system that we have, which is our shampoo and conditioner. It's the Moisture Rich, it's the Detox Supreme, which is going to be your clarifying, and then our Moisture Rich collagen moisturizing shampoo. So I'm gonna get into that shortly, but that's what we recommend you use because the system is synergistic. So it works well with the other complementary products. You want to make sure you stand within that key frame. And then also how you can look at it is that this is just a service. This is added service to what they're already coming to their already scheduled appointment. So color is a separate service. So you're charging different, you know. If you're adding on, we recommend at least $150, you know, for this service add-on. Okay, so that's minus your shampoo and your style, your cut, whatever else you add into the service. Don't downplay it. Get your money now. Because also you think it lasts 8 to 12 weeks. So you want to be able to ensure that the quality is high, and that really gives them the right mind frame to know that this is an enhancement. You know, sometimes if you're not charging correctly, they think it's a deep condition. You know, we kind of.
I pulled up the price for you
Thank
if you
you.
want to do that.
We can certainly get now.
Okay.
That's really what we're waiting for.
Okay, I'm gonna spotlight this. So everyone on Zoom, we're gonna switch to the presentation. I want this to go away.
Yeah, sometimes people kind of just charge one price that includes the shampoo and style. So the minimum is $250. You know, shampoo, style plus amino release minimum. And then, you know, I go fine. Me no shade, mine's $4. Yeah, because my shampoo style is $250. Okay, because with the shampoo style comes everything that you need. It's not even called shampoo style, it's regular maintenance appointment. So you can include your deep condition in there. You can do some light dusting in there. Y'all ain't gotta really talk about it, trip about it, you know, because it's gonna be that way. And then also, even when you're not, it's still the same. Cause don't deserve it. Standard.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm. How do you, this is not my lane, because I do short hair. How would a natural hairstylist market this to their clients? To say this is better than just getting a silk press every week, every 2 weeks? How would they
I'll
market
get to
this?
that too.
Okay.
But the difference is that, you know, of course, when you have hair that's without the amino release, it has less longevity of holding up.
Okay.
Okay, if you do everything that you just normally do, you wrap your hair up at night, that kind of thing, you can have a silk press for a long time, so up to 3 weeks if you're doing good and you're not a head sweater like that. But if you're working out, of course, you're gonna limit that time, but it's gonna be way longer lasting. It gives them more manageability at home. It ensures that if it's hot outside or if they go through a little humidity, that their style is gonna last. If they have just silk press, it's open, it's vulnerable, you know, anything sweating, they went out, they shut the rug real quick, and went back to the table, ooh. Y'all want that, it's an investment in your style.
I know you're trying to give me some time, but it's just showing in the room, but on Zoom, they don't see that top part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Amino Release is a healthy hair treatment. And the great thing about it is that it will increase the service menu. Now, hairstyle versus lifestyle is for girls who have curls, who wear silk presses. They have extensions, but it's not limited to just them. We have short hair girls and girls that have colored hair. So they don't have to really choose, you know, if they want to have all of these things. Now they have something that allows them to have the versatility and choice. Okay, so these are the different ways that you can use the amino release, which is of course smoothing the cuticle, curl definition, elongation of the curl. Okay, because most times with your wash and go, you have to use a lot of product depending on the texture. They might have frizzy, wiry, whatever. But when you have an amino release in there, the structure's so sealed, the cuticle's so sealed, you need less product. So even with just an air dry and leave-in conditioner, a lot of times, depending on the curl pattern, you can just let it go and you'll still have ringlets instead of just frizzed hair. The same day color. Now, this is one key factor that sets the amino release apart from other smoothing systems because you can do same color. Usually you might have to wait until their next appointment. You do the smoothing service first, and then you have them scheduled for 2 weeks after that to do your color, or up to 72 hours, because that's the amount of time the hair takes to like replenish or like kind of get back on track. However, with the amino release, you can do it in the same day. So some clients, they don't like to wait. They're like, oh, I gotta wait 2 weeks for my color. Or what if you prep for my gray? What am I gonna do for 2 weeks with this gray? So the great thing that we really pushed for with the amino release is that what sets it apart is that you can do same day color. So we'll get into some steps with that too. But one key thing I always feel like you should remember when doing color, remember that this is a separate service. Color is its own service. So anything that you're doing where you're decolorizing, we all know decolorizing, right? That's going to require over 20 volume. Do that before the amino. Okay, do it before. And then if you want, you can do the amino, then put in your toner. Okay. Because if that toner, especially if the toner is acidic, it really will keep it closed.
So basically, do your highlights and everything first, but you don't do the overall tone until the end. Unless, I think the, young lady before said you're using a more alkaline toner, where you want to use an alkaline toner after, meaning like, you're using a, like not a gloss, but you're using 0 to 5. Yeah.
Tonal shift.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're using a permanent color to tone, you can still do that before.
But if you're using a gloss, you need to do it after.
Right.
Gotcha.
So you can just remember like this, alkaline before, acid after.
Okay.
That's real easy, okay? Now, some people have been able to do the full color and just apply the amino release at the very end too. For Nikki, one of our other educators, she feels that it seals in the color doing it after. So I'm used to smoothing treatments too, having this oxidation after applied, where if you do blinds earlier, it may turn that blind yellow-ish a little bit. This has less of that. But you have to play with it and see, but I like to do my little seal right after. Because the amino, it ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Once you get it with that blow dry, it ain't going nowhere. And then I can tone right after that. And typically, when you're doing particular intricate placement of tone, sometimes you might want to dry the hair because you need to see exactly where you want that toner to go anyways, instead of doing it wet, unless you're just doing like easy stuff like gloss all over or just shadow root and then gloss or whatever. Okay, so then also it smooths out wiry gray hair. Okay, so that gray hair that's really wiry and a little uncontrollable sometimes, don't want to lay down and submit. Okay, the smoothing system will gently allow it to cement and relax. Okay, relaxing transitioning. So if you have clients that are transitioning out of the relaxer, this is a great option for them because it helps the hair that's the new growth feel as smooth as the relaxed hair once you get through that part and press it. So now they won't have so much of that tension that they tend to come across from the line demarcation and that tug and pull with those two different textures. So when they are matching, you'll have way less breakage and compromising of the hair when handling it. And then the other thing is natural pixies. So I know if you have some girls that, okay, oh, I'll make it. I don't do them, but if y'all do them, okay, go ahead. Because like I've talked to some stylists that just swear by their natural pixies and they got their method and they know how to lay that hair down and they sit in that curve. That's all good. But let me tell you, if you apply this amino release, it's going to be even quicker, even easier for you to do your natural pixies. I have a few because they want to be blonde. They want to be, high lit color. So those are great candidates for the amino release because they have a longer lasting smoothness where they can enjoy their color. They can also enjoy a lengthier shortcut because a lot of girls either got to go short for manageability or they got to go past a certain limb. But I am really feeling the pixies, the, short cropped shortcuts. They have more movement, they have more ways to play. And so if you have something that really is addressing the smoothness and the style, having longevity, that's so fun for her, and it could really open her up into something, new and a new vibe and that kind of thing. Instead of like some of the basic things that they're accustomed to when they want a shortcut and whatever. Extensions, this was great for K-tips. If anybody is doing K-tips, you have to have that hair match that extension hair. Ooh, I mean, just she could have had some, y'all wouldn't know, but is there some K-tips in here? So guys, there's some K-tips. It might be, but that part. So it's great for extensions and hair that's left out because hair that's left out tends to get more worn because we're always trying to match the texture with the weave. So instead of doing that, when you have your amino release, you have less of that you have to do. So you're just not going to be compromising that hair that's left out as much. It's just going to blend in with the hair. And then you have your protective styling prep. I just talked about that.
Yep.
So protective styling prep, I think what's included in that too is like when people get braids. And so you're going to get braid up or you're going to get just braids, French braids or singles. If you got that amino release on there, your hair's sturdier, So plus you have that cuticle so close, you have a layer of protection while you're going so long without addressing the hair with moisture or with, at the shampoo ball. Because most times with the braids, you can, the singles, you can't wash your hair. Even though, I still tell them, put a little lead in down the strand, she'll rub it down. You ain't gotta hit the scalp. All right. So this is kind of going into your selling point too. Now you have the comparison. You want to see too? Okay. You got the comparison of the silk press, of the Amino Release, and then other keratin smoothings. Now, for one, the silk press, it's a minimum fee. It starts off basic. It lasts for 1 to 2 weeks, most times less time, especially in the heat right now. I got off that plane. We was in the little tunnel. I said, "Whoa." Okay, it's not really resistant to humidity. So it has a low resistance to humidity. And it's a lot of heat manipulation to get it finished, to keep it finished. So those are the drawbacks with just having the silk press. Now the keratin smoothing tends to be a little bit more expensive, but it will have some permanent curl change, especially with your girls who are doing repeat flat ironing. Now, I don't know where they got this heat damage and all that kind of thing from. I think it's the wrong terminology. We have trained and thermically changed the structure of the hair. It's not necessarily heat damage. Heat damage is singed, burnt.
Right.
Okay. So we just rearrange the bonds thermally. Okay. So that's one thing I think we can all start educating our clients on. And fight back those naturalista bullies. But okay, I'm just saying. However, when you do keratins, it will give you some permanent change to that curl structure, especially if you're a girl that's smooth natural. Okay, that's what we call in our silk pressers, the ones who primarily wear their hair straight and don't really wear their hair curly, but like to say natural, smooth natural, or straight natural. And so the Amino Release has a combination of in between, where you have the ability and versatility to keep curls, play with curls, not be so committed to natural straight, but you can also play in the natural straight zone. Now, I say it's still the same rules apply on how many times you're gonna press that hair if wearing your hair curly is important to you. You still want to limit how many times you smoothing out your hair each year, but the Amino Release has so much durability that it impacts onto the strand that it really is a great protector of the curl pattern. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the formulation and how it's doing that in a second. And so also, like I said before, it's customizable, meaning that you can kind of gauge the degree of smoothness based on your client's needs. So the number of passes really determines on how set in you want that amino release to be. So if you're gonna do up to 10 passes, sometimes you don't really need, but sometimes you need 6 if the hair is just like using a low heat and you really want to get it smooth, but you don't want to go on 450. You might need a few of those passes just to really stretch and elongate that seal. And so you can go a few more passes if she's a natural straight. She's not worried about her curl pattern and wearing it, but maybe just 1 to 2 for the girl who's just doing this for a time. She really loves her curls, and you don't have to do it that long. So that really is how it's customizable too for that client. And then also, of course, you can do color same day. Now, the other thing besides color same day is that it's supporting the color that you've done. So when you've done color and you've rearranged the chemical bonds or the disulfide bonds, the salt bonds, whatever, in the hair, then now this is going to come to support that strand since it's been weakened or compromised through that process. So that's what's great about it too. And then, so why does the amino
Sorry, it's why acids
matter. Why does the amino acid matter? Hair is made out of keratin. Keratin is built from amino acids. Our Texture Rich Amino blend gives textured hair exactly what it needs. And the 3 key components of exactly what it needs means moisture, which is the most important, because we're creating moisture retention in the strand, strength, so that it can have length retention. We need that strength and sheen. Now, you see that? Sheen. I ain't gotta say nothing about that. But sheen gives you that look of healthy hair that we want to see.
Great.
Okay. Amino Release is for straight naturals, curly naturals, transitioning clients who coming out of, chemical straightening hair into natural hair, who want to achieve straight looks, enhanced curl definition, and same day color with no permanent straightening or harsh chemicals. So that's just a key component. All of my clients that are pressed have Amino Release. For one, I ain't about to be tripping and trying to get through that hair. I had one client, her hair was so thick, and it was like a 4A, and she was just like, I don't need that. Girl, yes, you need it. You do need that for me. Like, you don't have to do nothing, because I still can sit out. But I need you to have. So I'm just telling you. And so this is Brandy Maddox, and she's one of the educators for Amino Release. She does a lot of that in salons, especially locally here in Atlanta. She does great work, great color work. And
You tell them the door needs to be closed.
so she provided these pictures where you can see the before and after, you see the transitioning state. This is where she began her curl. You see that it has some lot of frizz to it, wiriness, and see after the Amino Release has been applied, you see the curls is popping. Okay, curls popping, and she did one side straight already, and then the finish. And with the finish, you can see that sheen. And one key thing to remember about that is that the hair, even that's colored, is feeling just as smooth and nice as the hair that wasn't colored. And that's creative freedom for the Black girl. Okay, because she won. And she won. Okay. Amino Release is the healthy hair foundation for her lifestyle. Smooth cuticle with structural integrity. Okay, resists humidity and minimizes reversion. So that's also through perspiration, lifestyle. She's working out. This is going to be a really great aid for her. Okay, she ain't gonna be discouraged no more by losing the weight. You know what I'm saying? She can go and lose the weight and keep her hair. Okay, because ain't that the problem?
Yes.
Like, what am I gonna do? I think I'm going great for a while. 'Cause I gotta slow down. Okay, lock in the moisture, strength, in the sheen. It maximizes the length retention because it's stronger now. Extends style longevity, reduces blow drying time. That's key too. Because, you get through that blow dry easier, especially when you have less detangling of this. Confidently move between curls, color, and extensions. So now she's free. You need to release her. Okay? Release. We're going to give you a release, girl. All right. So this is a great example of what the strand looks like without an amino release. We do so many things to it. We thermal curl it. We're coloring it. We're, rearranging it in some kind of way for manipulation. And so over time, it'll have these holes in it, these pockets that need to be addressed. So what the amino release comes in is it supports that. It goes in, fills up those little areas because it's taking up real estate in the strand. So when you have those little pockets in there, they get filled up. So it's also working great as a porosity filler. Okay, so that's the great thing too. And you can also, when you think that in mind, and you feel that there's over porous hair that you're working with, maybe you can do your amino before the toner. Okay, because it's going to fill in, and then your toner is going to have more even deposit because you have filled in some of those pockets. Okay. Now here's the signs. Y'all ready for the technical? All right. This is so good because once you get real technical with the client, she be like, okay, you got it. Because and then when you start talking about tone and I'm gonna do a 9 B6 and gonna mix that with a 4. You got it. That's like rocket science to me. So once you hit them with this, There we go. Okay. Now, the great thing about the amino release is that it is not a, it's the same as other smoothing treatments as far as heat activated. So it's not really activated until that blow dry hits it. It's been absorbed, but it needs to be activated and filled in from the heat. And so it's a supercharged dual amino acid complex. Most keratins or smoothing treatments that use aminos just use one chain. This one is supercharged because it has two chains. So we have one chain of amino acids that is larger in molecule. That's the glyoxyluryl keratin amino acid. That is really going to absorb into that top layer of the cuticle, really shutting it down, really closing it down. But to go deeper is when we added that second the second amino acid, which is the glyoxyluryl carbocysteine, and that's going deeper into the cortex. Okay, so when you have that dual, that's when you get the support. That's why we have the confidence to say this supports the color, it supports the hair. Okay, so because it's supercharged. And so being supercharged, it also has that pH, as I said before, that's very low, the 1.8 to 2. Okay, so we know we are closing that cuticle down. And then it also has some of the benefits of what natural ingredients can give, or natural extracts, which is, we got our vitamins B5, moisture. It has other vitamins too, like from the agave, the vitamin C, the antioxidants. And then we of course have that moisture addition through coconut. Coconut.
Right? And Texture Rich is our new baby when it comes as a distribution company. As you know, we have multiple texture brand that we carry. We've been doing it for 20 years. I think it's like 29 distributors throughout the United States and the Caribbean that we actually do business with. You probably know us because we got all the top brands, the multi-texture here. And we've been doing it for a long time when it comes to bringing you as a professional product. Texture Rich is our specialty brand. It's really, we always say we're gonna have 15 Beyonce, so it's not gonna be a brand that has a bunch of products. It's products that we know you as a professional is missing. It's products that we know that we currently have on the truck that we're not gonna duplicate. So you as a pro, you guys don't exchange dollars. So we are trying to be efficient, and whatever we bring in the Texture Rich brand, we know you guys need it because we have other brands that's missing those particular SKU. Texture Rich is a treatment brand, and I'm just go over real quick. We have It's 6 treatments so far. We introduced the brand a little different than we usually do when we bring the other brands that we have built over experience these couple of years, these 2 decades. So we introduced it as individual pieces. So you as a pro can learn how to use it, how to master it. And the reason we did it is from 2 decades of experience where we didn't want to come and just drop off 30 products to you or 15 products to you. We did 2 at a time. And we always in the boardroom conversation with my teammates, we usually say we wanted to make these products are artists and we want them to be platinum artists. So we drop 2 at a time. Once you guys now are familiar with using everything, now we're gonna put together the puzzle and we're gonna start doing treatments and we're gonna do classes on everything. The first treatments we're launching is the Amino Release box. But on top of that, we also have a silk press boost box, which is the clarifying shampoo, the moisturizing shampoo, the collagen conditioner, creme boost, protein boost, and then crystal gloss. So once we get the chance to go through the market share, once we get a chance to comb through all the professionals, we now going to do another run where we do the silk press boost box. And after we do the silk press boost box, we have the protein and the creme boost box. That's our treatment. That's for after relaxer. I always say the protein boost is the little sister to the amino, where you can use that after color, after relaxer. You can use that when someone come in and they want to get a refresher. You can use that when someone want to come in and they want to do extension and you want to bring the extension back to life. That'd be the creme boost and the protein boost, and that'd be a box that we go ahead and do classes on. We didn't want to overpower the industry and the stylists by just dropping all the treatments. So each treatment, you're gonna probably get a 1 to 2 year run of us combing through the market share, taking our time to get you guys to perfect these. And we have the protect and shine. Sorry. Am I not here?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, the protein, the pro protect and shine system. That one is the creme boost, crystal gloss, and shade control. Shade control is amazing because it's hairspray, but it's buildable and you can get regular, you can get soft, and you can get firm hold. The next system that we're getting ready to go real hard on is the scalp therapy system with our Star Flare, which is the carbon ice. It has the carbon ice reset oil. It has a detox supreme, and it has the rosemary conditioner. That's a scalp therapy system that we're getting ready to launch probably the end of the year, where you guys been using it already, but we're getting ready to put the box together. So this is a quick overview of all the treatments that we currently have for you guys as pros. And like I said, pay attention. We're going to do classes on each one of the boxes. All the boxes going to look just like the Amino Release box, where you're going to have an instruction on it. You're going to have the item that's come inside the boxes. But you as a pro, you don't have to exchange dollars. You don't have to go buy a new system. You're already using it as an individual. And that was intentional. Launch it. Make sure you guys play around with it. Use it as an individual back bar product. Now we're gonna put the puzzle together and come back and comb through the market share where we're doing practice. So those are the particular systems. The Silk Press Boost system. So look out for that. And you're gonna see Greg do a tour on that eventually. Then we have the creme and the protein boost. That's the little sister to the that one is a part of the 12-week regimen. So say your client come back and they get the amino boost system, and they want to come back for a halfway point. You want to book that client and say, come back in halfway. So now you can get the creme and the protein boost treatment. What that do now, when they have the new growth, you have an opportunity now to go ahead and still take care of that client, see what that client is doing, but also you get to use a product that will support them bonds, going to help the new growth, and then go ahead and have them last for the following half of the amino. Then you have the finishing. We also by the show September 20th. You have to be there, you boy. He's amazing.
When you're ready.
Yeah, so back to Greg. Just want to put some time. Appreciate you. Go ahead and ask any questions you got.
That's all good. I was just gonna interrupt for a second because I just want to make note of I use the comb attachment with my blow dryer just to initially remove a lot of the water out of the hair. Now you can see it's still a little kind of rough or whatever. I can see, because I'm closer to it, the shine already coming in it, but this is why I'll switch off from that and move into my paddle brush airform. Okay, because now I'm gonna start getting a lot more tension on the hair, and that's going to help me with creating the sheen on the cuticle layer, okay? So I just want y'all to see that. Now, it doesn't give a whole bunch of smoke if you've applied it properly, but no say, I like to see a little bit, so I wanna know that that product is in there. Okay, I'll put the mask on after a while, but it's that deep, you know. At least you have the ultimate window, you cool. The one thing though too is that this is non-toxic, so it'll be the same with like you have a lot of oil in here and you trying to blow dry it, you don't get some smoke.
What kind of blood dryer is it?
Okay, this is a Babyliss. It's old. Like I didn't have this probably like 7 years. Okay, this is my silk press blow dryer. Okay, now I will start off sometimes with the other ones, and sometimes I'll use them because they're more convenient, compact for traveling. But you see, I traveled with this because I already knew what I needed for that text. Now, when it comes to the air forming too, I want to make sure y'all on the camera can see. To get that good tension, I'll use my paddle brush and go in and pull like that. That's gonna really give me that good tension. And my nozzle is not directly on the hair. I like to have it a little bit off center, so that way you are releasing some of that heat. And so like it's smoothing cuticle, but it's not stuck there. So it's gonna reduce unnecessary heat down too, or heat down. So now you can see that steam coming in. So we're getting smoother with that paddle brush. And that's really the difference between using a paddle and just using a comb attachment. Comb attachment is good when you want to just get through the hair first and get it all away from dripping wet. But then you gotta really go down, break down the hair into maybe some smaller sections and get those air forming down. Really makes all the difference. And it just makes going through the hair for the smoothing part easier.
Greg, we have some questions online.
Okay.
Is it required to rinse the hair after it's applied?
It is not required, but Greg Gilmore recommends.
That's your way.
I like a nice little rinse, just like you would rinse out a demi-permanent after it's been processed. You don't need to give it no full crazy shampoo. You just need to give it a life, whatever residue is left on the hair from the color, you want to get that off. So it's kind of like that. Whatever has absorbed into that strand is already absorbed.
If the blow.
The question is like,
Oh,
necessarily use a paddle brush or put out the round brush?
You can use a round brush. Yeah, the round brush is still creating tension for you to smooth out that cuticle. So you can definitely use a round brush. I just feel like the round brush takes a little bit longer to get the same result. But I understand the round brush when it comes to volume in the hair. A lot of times because you're doing a lot of lifting like that, it creates that round tight. Hair will take on the form that you put it in from wet to dry. So of course, if you're directing it up while you're drying it, it's gonna have a little bit of longevity and being and holding like that. And sometimes when I really got everything dry, I can focus more on the roots because the end's gonna get got. But I don't have to put so much pressure on them throughout the whole process. I can focus really on their roots. Look at that shine on me. Can y'all see a little shine? Okay. We ain't even did the trim yet. That's what I'm saying. We really wanted to take our time and really work with the product before we started introducing it into the market. So we've done all the trialing, all the, mess up to really bring to you the proper way you need to do it. And the reason why we feel like you need to be certified is because some of these things you just have to know so that you do a really successful one. Because if you were just to buy a product and follow the directions, there's so much you would have missed, or found out or not found out about how you can use the amino release. And you notice it's just getting smoother and smoother. And so I kind of like keep doing that for a while because it's like kneading dough. I kind of look at it like it feels like you're kneading dough. So once I'm really going in this much, I don't have to focus so much on the ends. I'm just really trying to get that root good. So that's going to sometimes eliminate having to use a Marcel iron and just going right into ceramics without that. But if it's real thick, you tired and you got through it enough, you need to put it under the dryer for that 10, go ahead. You feel, whip out your pressing foam if you have to, but you have to be real careful on the degree, the temperature. And if you do have to do that, I will only focus on the root and not the hair spring.
Question. Is the blow dryer on high heat?
Yes. That's the only heat you can do. Right. And see them. Okay. That's the only. But no shade, like her second visit per se, and I was doing something, I could use a lower heat and it still would silk out and dry because now it's set in. So the other thing I was going to do, I didn't focus on the ends no more for a while. So now, since I'm about to be finished with this, now I can do it my last little. So one, her hair is being cut anyway, but this is just when we do have your girls that keep longer hair. When you feel like you're pretty much finished with that section, is when you can get that final little run through on the end. This really helps preserve the length. Because when the hair is longer, the longer it is, the older it is. So more sensitive it gets, especially when you're doing multiple services all the time, or just doing a lot of pressing all the time. So her hair might be still a little wet in the root. So what I'm gonna do is just do 5 minutes under the dryer. Watching our time, we got some time.
Go back to. Yeah, we are 2 hours to close. But we do have some questions that you can answer, I think, while he's under the dryer.
Okay. Hold on, let me just come back first.
Yep.
You want to break from the cable?
Okay.
You good? Okay.
All right, as Greg is going to set up his dryer, I think I'm gonna wait. It's gonna be couple minutes. The music.
The one who changed their hair.
Ready for your question? All right, so are you familiar with the Design Essentials STS system?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the difference between amino release and the SCS treatment by Design Essentials?
I think the biggest difference is the type of keratin that's in. I know they have cysteine, but it's mainly keratin, cysteine, keratin based versus just amino acids. Also, you cannot do same day color with the SCS. I think that the SCS might be a tad bit compromising on the hair if you do color same day. So that's the biggest difference in those two.
Okay. The rinse question came up again. Did you rinse with cold or warm water? How long? And they wanted to know when exactly you rinse.
Right. So the rinsing is very minimal. At max, you only got to do 10 seconds, not even 10 seconds to rinse that part. You just really are getting the excess that did not absorb into the strand. So it needs to be really quick and it needs to be warm to cool.
Okay.
So,
And if someone is curly and they want to stay curly but soften and elongate the curl, how do you use it?
so when you want to just do the amino release for curly hair and she's not going to be straight natural or doing anything straight, then the part that I just did would be the complete finish. So we still apply everything, we still go to the bowl and rinse, then we apply everything, then we don't rinse and we blow dry. So then after that, we rinse and then do the wet set, the wash and go, the styling, whatever.
Oh, if you're
So-
trying to remain curly.
Right, if you're trying to remain curly, you don't have to you don't really have to rinse it out prior to the blow dry, like you would on a straight natural.
They still say for the 20 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still 20 minutes, 20 minutes is crucial. You need to do 20 minutes. I start the timer of the 20 minutes right when I'm done with the last quadrant, when I start the 20 minutes.
Okay. And then
Let me see who all up in here.
we got
Who
66
we got?
bows. For styling, are you gonna flat iron?
Yes, yes. So yeah, I'm gonna go into flat ironing once she sits under the dryer. I know everybody, like every professional, knows to put their client under the dryer after the blow dry, but some clients I have to remind them to do that because they will be trying to do their hair on their own. This is for your monthlies or your bi-monthly clients that come. And when they're doing their own hair, they still might get swelling because it was not thoroughly dry or that scalp wasn't dry, although it felt dry. So I often tell them to remember to just wait 30 minutes or put direct heat on the scalp for 5 to 10 minutes before starting to blow dry. Before starting to flat iron. But yes, after this, when she comes back from that 5 minutes, we're going to start flat ironing. I'm going to talk about the different types of pressing you need to do or passes you need to take when we're going to finishing and really sealing it in with thermal.
Any questions in the room?
Very detailed.
Okay, thank you.
I did have a question about, in the presentation, there was a section for transition. So for the clients that have been using heavy rate coverage, does it, we're gonna go into the differences from other amino acid treatment, it will remove the chemical from that.
Right, I know. This doesn't do that. Yeah, it tends to stay in there. You may, depending on the line of color too, and how opaque that gloss is or coverage. Of course, I always do semi-permanent for my gray coverage because I think that it penetrates deeper than just your semi. And in some cases, I may have to use a permanent if it's too much opaqueness to the color. That's usually for gray coverage that's lighter in tone. So like when they have their gold, it's matching up with their blonde and stuff like that. It's such a light tone that I still would use a permanent tone in that way. But afterwards, whether it's demi or semi, you'll know your color. You used to working with your color and how translucent it is. It's kind of like a trial and error base, but it can be different in that category depending on your color brand. So in some cases, it's best to permanently lift and tone, then seal with amino release. If you know that it's kind of more heavy hitting, especially if you did a permanent color, it's probably going to stay in there. Or if it's a very translucent, more faint gloss type of toning, semi or demi, it'd be great to do that after the amino release has been applied. That way you ain't got to worry about nothing for a good couple of weeks, you know.
So when you're applying to someone's hair who's transitioning out of relaxer, do you take it all the way down, like over so only on the new
It's
hair?
only on the new growth. It's going to be a waste of product if you put it on the hair that's already naturally straight. It's just not going to absorb.
Do you have a color line that you notice that works? Like
Prefer works.
Yeah.
You know, I'm with it. Okay. However, the great thing about the amino release is that it is its own category. So you can use it with any color that you're comfortable with and that you really like, or that you're at least familiar with. Because sometimes you got that dual coating down, you know they code, they formulating, they ratios. You know, if you're more comfortable there, just use it like you normally would. But you just place the amino release where it needs to go on the chart. Okay.
It's been fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we keep the client?
Hey, Greg, I have a question.
I love your hair color too, by the way. I was gonna say it's so chocolate. That part, okay, because I think you got the, okay, right. I think you got the eyebrows matching too. Yeah.
Did you tell us what eating you would recommend when using the technically pronounce the word oxy? Exactly.
Like what heating?
Yeah, which would be better because
Heat temperature?
yeah,
Okay, that's what I'm about to go. So we about to do the path.
okay.
Right, so, and that's great because I can start right here.
Okay.
Now she's been a little 5 minutes, her scalp should be dry. And we're gonna start going into the thermal process of sealing this amino release into the cuticle and cortex. So now comes the point of determining what temperature of heat that we really want to use. Now, if she is medium to fine, and you know that she presses out pretty easily, you can use a lower temperature, like 410 should seal it. But if you're going to use a lower temperature, I feel that you need smaller sections. Okay, to really make sure that you're getting everything. Also, it depends on her preference on retaining curl pattern because she's doing her hair curly too. So if she's gonna wear her hair curly a lot of the time, it's really important to have a lower temperature around that 400 range. You can go lower, it's very fine, and she wants to keep her curl pattern. You might need to do like a 350, 395 on her, you know. That's usually your women that might be a little more seasoned. Okay, and they have little lines. Okay. She said, what you look at me for? Okay. I wasn't meaning nothing like that. But those are the ones you really can use that lower temperature. Sometimes you have a girl that is more dense. And so, and then like the texture itself is more coarse. So she should get, you know, up to that 435, something like that. You can still do 450, but that's at your own professional judgment because you're keeping different factors in mind. The whole premise of the more heat training you do on the hair, it will start to straighten. So that's keeping in mind and letting her be aware of that, go over that in the consultation. And having her also be able to have more of an informed choice. So you always have to set yourself up for success by covering all your bases in the beginning. Because you don't want to like forget to say something, and then she'd be like, well, yeah, I thought you said that I could get the curls right back, that they was gonna be the same as they was before. And you could say, no, I told you that they were gonna temporarily elongate. And I said, the more you straighten, you can still have straightening. So you have to stop straightening your hair. I set them up. That way I can have that to take them. Okay, let's see. So this is the part where you also can, I answered your question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is the part, and the great thing is too, like, I ain't blow dry that so good. I don't even know if I found. Some people have the question on like, what's the difference between using ceramic and titanium? Brandy actually likes using titanium with her. So you can use titanium, it's softer on the hair. It's really great for like, I hope this here. It's really great if you have that client who's really adamant about preserving her curl texture. However, what I find with the, I'm probably gonna move this because they over there.
I can move them.
Yeah, I think they kind of need to move with me because this is a twist, I'm twisted up. Okay. Let me see something. I just wait with you. Okay, so everybody can see good.
You okay? Or you want to put it in this extension cord right here?
Okay, so you got it? I got it.
Okay. Titanium. Oop. No state. So titanium, sometimes, I don't know if it's the way that that plate is built for the flat iron, but sometimes it doesn't hold the same consistency of heat throughout the plate. So that's the problem that people usually run into when they like ceramics over titanium. We recommend titanium because we recommend ceramic because ceramic is kind of like the closest to that Marcel finish. And it has that even distribution of the heat. So from the top of the plate to the bottom of the plate, everything is getting the same temperature, basically. Let this go. Are your irons bevels as well? Bevel? Yes. H2 Pro. I be H2 Pro with them. Because honestly, like, I don't feel like nothing else I've found has the grip. I need a flat close. I don't need no extra space. Okay, because that's gonna mess up my seal. Then it's almost like it's trying to make you have chunkier sections so that you could really feel the grip, but I like H2 Pro because of that. And that even heat distribution across the plate.
We got that this is a great angle for the Zoom.
Oh, good, okay. All right, y'all, staying with me now. So now when it comes to passes, I will focus a lot more on the root first. Sometimes to get a little closer, my passes might be like half an inch to an inch. Sometimes less than that, like to really have more control with your smoothing. I will flip my curling iron over and kind of hit it. This allows me to get just a tad bit closer to her roots without burning her. I don't know how it worked, but it worked. So I can do that and really focus here because that's the most resilient part of the hair. And then I can come through with my ending part. And if you go a little bit more slow, that reduces the number of passes too. So it's like if you, ooh, was that one? Okay, just take note of that. Now, also, what I like to keep in mind too is that, let me make sure I'm not, because she don't really need 450. She kind of built like a 430. The other thing too is that when I am silking the hair out, I'm keeping in mind the passes that I'll take with curling. So if you like to do a lot of smoothing first, then put the style in, just know that you got 1 or 2 more passes to do left on the hair when you start to apply the curling iron and get your curls put in. And see, that's what I'm talking about. Like it's even heat throughout that plate. It's just more sufficient. If you're working with the titanium, you might have had to do that 3 times to make sure that every part of the strand got the same heat. So that's the difference too, right there, real time. So again, get that root good. 1 to 2, and then now this is just a 1. We move a little slower, get all that in there. That 1 pass. We still got to clip ends. So that's pretty good.
Getting a request to go in closer on the next pass. Can I move the camera?
Yeah. It's interactive, so I feel like the camera should be right on. I think for the next one, we ain't gonna have it stationary. I think the camera needs to be moving so that you can see.
It's not a.
Yeah,
Could
that
be
can still
wobbly.
move though. You got a good, I feel like this need to be like.
It's pretty wide. It's
Okay,
like,
wide.
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, they probably want to get real close in, like. So flipping over, hitting it. Look at that sheen coming in. Okay, that's content right there. Get that with you, right?
Video too,
Hmm.
man. You know, you'll have your video up again yesterday, so they can see it also.
All right. That way, yeah, we've been doing some YouTube series as well. We just taped one yesterday. So those are good, like, in case you forget things. You can kind of get a recap. Maybe you've been on vacation. You're like, I got a couple of, releases lined up. Let me go and refresh my memory.
Now it's telling Haley she can get in there. Let me do the next.
Okay. So with the edges, that's where my little 3/10 inch come in handy. And then I still don't have to pull out that myself. But it's just, she don't even need no edge control like that. Wire everywhere. It's gonna be silked. Now again, we just did cream boost. We ain't do crystal gloss. Y'all was here real time. We ain't do all that. So
They saying it looks good online. They
thank
said this
you.
their meta glasses.
Okay. I guess that would be a thing too, if you could plug up another glasses.
Yeah.
It's really.
I'm gonna look into that.
He would be wearing. He'd be wearing the glasses. Yeah, he's wearing exactly what he's doing.
Have a dual
Mm.
camera.
That'd be fun.
Mhm.
Cause it'd be what you see.
Right.
Okay.
Actually small.
Mhm.
I got some. Right. So that's pretty much just getting through it with one pass down the mid shaft, you know. But again, I am being more controlled with my smoothing because I'm taking small sections. I'm not just like one of them stylists that be taking on big sections and getting it done. I charge more, so I'm a little bit more detailed. And because I charge more, I have more time. You know, usually if you're not charging enough, you have less time because you're trying to get them in and out. So you compromise on technique and you compromise on presentation. I really like to be an artist. And I just didn't get into this to be a conveyor belt. I got into it to create. And I needed to make space to keep my passion alive. Or you get burnt out and you be dead. And be like, you know what? I don't even do, girl, I do insurance. You know, I started in the real estate. I got a showing today on the markets. Okay. You don't be doing that here no more. Okay.
A lot of people said they felt that. I think you hit them where.
That's why I feel like if you've been doing here long enough, you don't be mad at raising the prices because for one, you want to work smarter, not harder. You just want to work less. And I want to enjoy waking up to come to work. I don't want to be dreading it. Like we're like, oh my God, 10 people today. Lord, let me eat my weed and so make sure I got coffee on deck. No, like them kind of work days is done for me unless it's a one-off and it's worthwhile. You know, we got 10 models to do for the presentation, you know, but just everyday clients and that's gonna be my everyday workflow. I can't do that no more. So I wasn't scared to start charging more because, you know, either you hit that price or I'll see you next time, see you later. You want to drop down from 2 weeks to a month and a half when you come? That's good too. Because I gotta see you every 2 weeks.
Our lifestyle.
Right. Well, it's not about that. And I have to like remind them too. It's like, this is how much we charge because we are entrepreneurial. We are the employer and we employ ourselves. So we are responsible for everything that employers are responsible for. Our own sick leave, our own Roth accounts, our own retirement, our own supplies, and everything that's needed to make sure that experience is sufficient. And even things that you don't think about, like having toilet paper. The toilet paper might be covered. It might be covered in my booth rent, but I gotta make the booth rent plus my rent plus personal expenses and business expenses. So once you start breaking this stuff down, they change from what to empathy. Because it's like, dang, yeah. Because if you just spend all your life getting that 2-week check, you don't know nothing about this life. So I'm gonna break down the business part because I'm a business owner. So this is why prices have gone up. The same thing Walmart and them do, but they just don't have time to put out the bulletin. You know, if you want to be courteous, you can put out an announcement, but you don't have to. Sometimes it just comes to a point, I'm just redoing some of the hair that got a little wet from that rinse. Sometimes it just gets to a point where you have decided, you've decided in order for business to conduct thoroughly and continue, this is an implement that needs to be done and implemented ASAP. You know, we have an emergency came up, operations are down. This is the change we need to make. you have to start talking to yourself in second person sometimes. Like, okay, well, and I'll do that with my client. They be like, oh, then, oh, wait, so you're gonna be gone? Dang, supposed to be going to Vegas. It's like, yeah, well, Greg, you're not gonna be here. Greg, I gotta talk for Greg. Because they be thinking they talking to Greg, but they talking to minor ears. Okay. Yeah, Greg gonna be gone because he didn't already make plans. The trip is this day. They don't come back to about 2 weeks after that. Yeah, so I know I said the 21st, but I think he get in on the 20th. Probably the 23rd. Okay. No shit. So I'm just going through. I'm just going through real quick on some of the other hair because it might have gotten a little sprinkling from that water. You can sit back down. Question in the back.
So it looks like on your pricing, did you like gradually go up? Or did you have?
Yeah, I gradually went up.
Okay.
I gradually went up. But I mean, recently I just went up and everything just increased like boom. Because I needed to do that for myself, like based on a lot of factors, it needed to be done. And I was starting to get a little too booked. So when you're starting to get too booked, that's the obvious sign that you need to go up. Because once you get up, you're not gonna lose no clients. You're gonna lose some, but those are the ones that's holding you back, that you don't have the power to say no to. So let the price say no to them. Okay? If I'm evolving, if you're not evolving, then I guess we part. But I love seeing you at the cookout.
Do you think it's better to graduate, or do you think it's better to just drop it? Like,
It just depends on your comfort level. Because like you have to know what your specialty is and what that value is. If you don't know what that value is, then you'll always struggle with pricing. Sometimes we do things so easily that we don't know what to charge because it's just second nature to us. But we have to remember that what we can do, not everyone can. So it's a skill or a talent, and that has value depending on availability and time. Because really it's not just value on supplies and the labor, but it's valued also on time. Because I'm putting so much time into this, how much is that time worth for me in a day? In a day, I have to make a certain amount to survive in America. So if I spend most of it with you being nice, I'm really saying no to my own well-being. So I have to say yes to Greg's well-being. And that's why I feel like that was it third person. That third person is almost key. Because you got to start actually thinking like that. Like, who's going to stand up for Greg? When Greg is tired, Greg's feet hurt, joints and everything is going crazy. So this is the seal on the cuticle. You see that nice shine. I can see it in here too. Does it get this bone straight when you do it? No? Okay. And see, the great thing is when you drench this down with water, I'll go right back curly. Now we're about to do cut.
Okay, Greg, I have her before pictures. We can show everybody what you get. So Lindsay answered our model call online. And she's likes to wear her hair curly. Sometimes she straightens it. And today she said, I'm ready for the cut. I was gonna wait till the fall, but I'm ready. So we're gonna see it all together. You guys.
Okay. And we don't cut too much now. Lindsay has the type of hair that when it's pressed out, it loses density. The fullness comes from her wearing it in her curls. So I think that what is best suited for her, because she's not having her hair straightened all the time. You think about suitability. Suitability counts on how it looks on her as well as her lifestyle. So given all those circumstances, I would just use a lot of line. You know, there's only 3 techniques in cutting. It's line, when you're holding the hair down at 0, making a line. Layers, when you want to soften, everything is being elevated out of the hair's natural fall. And then you have graduation. And graduation is just building up waves. So she'll probably get lines because how that works in the geometry of curly hair, a line can make a graduation because the hair curls stack from a certain point. So you bring them all to one same distance, then when they go into their natural fall, they have to make a shape, you know? So in her case, I think it's really important to just stick with lines because we want to keep the fullness of her curls, but give the curls, when it's worn in curls, structure and shape and that kind of thing. That's distinctive. And also, I don't want to take her too much out of her comfort zone of what she used to see and used to work with it. So the great thing about the lines is that those types of vibes are in right now. They're trending. And sometimes you can add a little layering or a tad bit of over direction, which is just moving it from its natural fall. Over direction can be up or down. When it's up, we call it elevation. When it's up from its natural point of reference, up is elevation. When it's down, it's over direction. So you can over direct it here forward, you can over direct it back. If you're working anything down here, you're going to be elevating up. If you're softening, layers soften, graduate builds, line sustain, sustain weight. Okay. So I've sectioned her out here. This is the crown. And I've sectioned her out to where the crown comes to meet, where that line in between the crown and ear meet. And so then to make sure I get it accurate, sometimes I will feel for the mastoid bone, place my hand here, start at the crown, and just bring them to meet. That way I know I got a nice smooth line there. And I'm just gonna section this hair out first.
You do that with any texture?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of times, even with my curly hair girls, I can cut the hair curly, wet, depending on the texture, because you can only move through wet curly hair if it's more curly, loose, wavy curl, that kind of thing. If it's more coily, it's sometimes better to blow dry it out smooth and just move through it like that with the cut. But if you have to blow dry it out smooth and or cut smooth like this is and dry, then for curly, you have to keep in mind this shrinkage that can occur. So her bob, I'm not going to take her up too short because when she wears curly, it's going to be even shorter. So I'm going to start it off long so she can play with the length to have a swing. But when it goes into her curly, she'll have just such a beautiful stack that really has this nice line around the shoulder. Okay, and if she kind of moves a certain way, you might see her little neckline. And that's good for the girl. They had a little tattoo right there. Okay, they had a little Chinese letter or something. Tilt forward for me. When I start a bob, I'll start with my first line in the back.
Yeah.
And make sure that, you know, across the back, I am as straight as I possibly can be. The straightness in the lines when working with real hair and cutting real hair that's growing from the scalp, it's important to have your lines as straight as you can get them. And you want to have all the geometry pretty even around this round surface that you're working with.
Greg, do you want to take questions while you're cutting?
I can.
How much time do you usually take for the whole service?
It's an hour and a half, probably for applying the service. It's an hour and a half to get to the styling. That's what I was saying. So sometimes you could be quicker. It just depends. Like if the hair is real fine or, you know, short, of course, it's like maybe even quicker than that. Once you get a feel for it, you'll know when you want to do it like hotcakes or if you want to just, you know, take the time to make sure every strand is coated. So I'm going to start my first line. Your neck is tilted. We're going to keep the neck tilted if you can. Remember to keep it tilted while I move up, and then I'm going to tell you when to like hold it back up. Okay. Because most of my girls, sometimes they'll tilt at first, and then after I do the first cut, they be back up. And so I like to keep the head tilted until I get to this area in the top. And once I start working with hair that sits a little bit higher than the ear, she needs to be in a regular position where it is. So I actually can cut this a little bit shorter in the back. I'm gonna probably just kind of start here. Yeah. Got our first line. And as I move up, I'm actually gonna bring the hair a little further down. That's gonna get rid of that chunk that you see in the back when they just use the clippers. And it'd be like, they be doing all that. And it'd be chunk, 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 chunk. And they be activating the chunky ball. But it's okay, because sometimes you go on for chunk. I don't know if I'm blocking them, but I need to kind of move to this side a little bit. Okay, so now, is it like a little stool this time?
Yeah.
Maybe I can use your chair for me.
You want the stylus stool or a chair?
The stylus stool, yeah. That way I can not be so much in the way like that. Other thing too, I always try to remember when I'm doing real precise precision cutting like this, is that eye level is really important too. So you can do eye level on a stool or you can have your client stand. And sometimes I'll have a client stand throughout the whole foundational part of the cut and a bob, because that's just what's gonna set it up. When I'm doing my layering and over direction, I might can go crazy. A lot of times anything over on top of the parietal ridge, you can go crazy. But that bottom, below that parietal ridge, sets the foundation on whatever you went crazy on is going to sit on. So you want your foundation to be solid, as solid as possible.
What's more accurate, standing or sitting down?
Whatever you can get the eye level with.
Okay.
Like right now, I would be standing. So I would have her stand if I didn't have a stool to sit down.
That's why you stand in ABS? That one tall. Was
Yeah,
tall.
because she was, yeah. And then I was up on the thing and it seemed like such a distance away from the audience to be able to see what I was doing. And holding it, you know, you have a lot more control. You can go forward again. You have a lot more control when you use your comb too. Just keep that hair in that comb and get that line. Now, there's two ways you can kind of do this. I tend to allow this hair to be over directed to my cutting angle. The cutting angle is where the hair sits in the comb or your finger. That's your cutting angle. So if the hair is moving from that cutting angle, then you're doing another technique, which is either the over direction or elevation. So this is a little slightly over directed to meet the cutting angle here. And so this hair doesn't travel as far. So then you have something that when it's worn down, will start to kind of gradually grab some length towards the front. And sometimes you may not want that length. And so the other way is to follow the section and allow your cutting angle to stay parallel to the section. And it's harder to do with more shoulder in mind. So it's tilt forward and then slightly over. And now I have a little bit more space there. And if I want to, I can follow that line all the way around and move with the line. Because if you forget to move, then sometimes you're a little off because you're bending and your angle looks different visually than it actually is when it's just right in front of you. I oftentimes feel like cutting is hard to do in teaching because in actuality, when you're doing it, you really need to be right in front of whatever section you're working on, so that you can just really see everything correctly. And I will move with the head and stay in that position so that I know everything is getting that same length that needs to be in that area or whatever. So that's the first situation there. Now I'm gonna go in.
Meg, what shears are you using?
Don't say
Every
it.
class, like I say,
Say it.
but yeah,
You do?
every class I have to say it, but of course, you know, I used to be a Tori Hanzo educator. I used to cut hair for Tori Hanzo. So I still have a lot of Hanzo shears, which, you know, no shade, Hanzo has a great quality of shear. It's this, the steel is Japanese, but it's constructed in China. So, but the steel itself that's used is still Japanese steel. That's the confusion a lot of people have with Hanzo too. But these are a pair of shears that were made in Japan that I designed. So they're called Yasuke, which was the only Black samurai in history, and lived around 1540. So the sharpest steel in shears is always synonymous with a samurai sword because it was made with the sharpest steel. So that's why a good quality of shears needs to be made with Japanese steel. You'll have less shear sharpening to do over time. It just stays sharper longer. If you have some that's not Japanese steel and it's made in China, or you went to Southeast to get them, they go all out. You'll be done with those at me. So my next section is come down. She still has her hair tilted. And so I'm just gonna follow my last section that I did. Still holding it 0 degrees because we don't want any graduation right now. And making sure I'm following my section. So that means that, you know, I'm also moving with her. And you have to really be mindful about, this is a slightly elevated, but it's like, what can you do? You have to be mindful of her losing her head position too. Because she could come up a little bit on the left side and then you remind her on the right side, but now you got this off balance. And that can off like a thread that's like coming loose can really change the trajectory of the whole cut. And you don't want to have to go back and find where you started to make the mistake to make the correction all over. So I'm always constantly checking too as I'm going along. And again, I have the time to check because I'm not rushed because I'm providing a more premium service. And making sure that these details are accounted for. When I normally be teaching, I be having a whole because I don't know who in the class, I don't know, you know, it's a mixed audience, whatever. They be like, oh, and we skip all that.
Yeah, what's your?
But you know, we all cool in here, right?
Yeah.
Just as long as y'all don't talk. So you can see how that's turning out. This is so sharp, really nice, that kind of thing. And then you can imagine how it's gonna stack because there's no interruption in there. Now, as I can pull the bit down now as I've gotten to this area, we can kind of see how it's really falling on that neck. This is where I can determine if I want to take her shorter. This is where I can say, give her the mirror and say, like, how that feel on the back? Is that length you like? Because you don't want to get through the whole cut. And she said, can it be shorter? You kind of got to break it down and, you know. So that's why I'm constantly checking. I check with her as I'm moving through the cut. You have more time to do that when you have your premium pricing, you know. She appreciates that too, because that's where you have to have the right clients. You know, you don't necessarily have all the clients, you just need the right clients. And then also I will, if this is where I can recognize if I've gone off tilter, like if I got a thread that's coming loose, because if you start to see a thread coming loose or you get lost, you have to go back into technique, meaning that you have to go back a few steps and section back out where you were at to see where the mishap was at. How to see the balance. That's how cutting is, the geometry of it. But most of the time we tend to rush because we are underpaid and we don't pay attention to those kind of details. So that's my next line. And now too, I can start incorporating my sides. So we can like keep balance. So let me see, I'm gonna start here. Am I still good? Making sure it's still okay. I might have to go back and technique. It's technique. Hold on. Oh, I'll go further. This is great because it's like real time. So if I'm standing in front, you can see more how accurate I can really visualize. But if I'm sitting to the side, you know, it's harder. So I just got to kind of look and see what's going on. And sometimes you might be going for a distinctive look, but if at some part in the process you've done a small error, then you have to just do that error on the other side too, because it's got to at least be balanced.
So you are you are using it a little longer now, you said over the first two.
You want that clip?
sections
You want
did.
another clip?
I'm just doing it parallel to the section. So on the ends, because of her bottom here and it's touching, I had to slightly elevate to get the line. So I just did it on both sides because this thing is started to go up there. So it's got to at least do the same thing over here. I still have another chance to get more of an angled balance, whereas I move through the cut and like have this hair overshadow the bottom. But also what I'm also keeping in mind is that this is going to technically be a slightly shorter than the real perimeter line. Because now we're not gonna have that chunk, we're gonna have hair that's out the way so that the hair on top of that has more movement and flows. You don't see a chunk, you just see precision. And now she's sitting upright too, so I can start eliminating when they sometimes they had the whole bob cut and now they about to come up and the back is a little longer than the front. When you get that a lot when people are requesting that that 0 degrees line all the way around, that's hard to do because you're technically making a straight line from a round surface. You know, so it's just hard to do, but actually at this point, can I stand up? So I just move this over, just I'll give you guys stand one out. Still, I need to still. Okay, so let's section some of this here. I'll start to see where my line is at again and find that visually. I'm gonna just cut. Just use that comb to really stay in the lines. I get over here, that's why it's a little tricky. So now, because I did that little small over direction, and I mean, you know, before it's perfect to start my line now, having that over direction. Let it just come meet. Um, now this is a little shorter here, but we starting to get all this. And once she just wears it straight, if she's not getting a lot of layering, it's just gonna be sharp, But this hair is gonna actually have more movement because the hair underneath is shorter anyways. Because if it was the same length, you was really trying to get all the hairs even, that ball creates some stiffness there too. So now it has room to even flow better anyway. Oh, I'm like, you got like you in the chair. So I'm gonna do the same on this side where I am bringing everything to where the cutting angle meets, which requires the side to over direct slightly. Because I'm right-handed, the right side is always a little harder too. But honestly, you just doing the best you can. Sometimes it just will not be perfect, but you make it perfect enough. And so you still have all that movement that's coming in. Do what you gotta do. One thing I say is, you can't really beat yourself up about imperfections. If you try to be a perfectionist with everything, that's where the stress comes. And, you just have to do it on repeat for a while to just know where imperfections can live. You know how they say you got to choose your battles. You ain't got to keep going over that one section if like overall it ain't gonna matter.
Stretch yourself out.
Right, so I don't want to be stressed.
Greg, this comes with reps or,
Repetition.
yeah,
Repetition. You get the training when you just go and learn technique, but you really digest the technique through repetition. So if you have a class that you've taken and you just learned a new technique, I always stress that you get a mannequin head and do that technique at least 3 more times while it's still fresh in your head. Because that's what's really gonna help lock it in. And when it's not done right after you've gotten the knowledge part, you will forget when it's time to really do it. And then it'll be like, dang, did I really get something from that class? So I still will practice after I learned the technique too.
What if somebody's hair is unhealthy and they're naturally hair holding in it? Is it you just compensate for it or?
Yeah, sometimes you just live with it until it fills in and grows there. You want to follow the same structure because that's the great thing about fundamentals. When you follow a structure, it's like a lawnmower. Everything falls in line from the parameters you set up through the technique. So whatever doesn't, come to reach that barrier or that perimeter line or whatever that is, then it just doesn't get addressed. And maybe after you're done setting in your foundational shape, you can go in and kind of like do the details of clipping the ends in those areas that didn't come to reach the boundary or the gate, so to speak. What's our time?
We have an hour and 5 minutes left.
So the good thing too is, really just staying patient and disciplined throughout the technique. That's the hardest part too. Because when you're going through it, you get restless. Some of the things get redundant, like this, pulling everything down to this 90. But every section should have the same enthusiasm from you because it matters in the overall finish. I'll press my shoulder a little bit, make it okay. And just look straight ahead for me. So I can check things out visually. So a little longer on that side. So I could probably just freestyle it without the comb in the way. And sometimes it's good to have the shear on a slant because then you're kind of cutting underneath too and not exposing. Not having this hair be cut shorter than the hair that's laying underneath it. That's pretty good. Ooh, that is just like, wow, that's crazy. It's giving K-tip. Okay, she got K-tip. And so now if I want a little bit more swing, and I'm keeping in mind that she has the curls that she primarily wears her hair in. So it might be nice to give her some kind of like interior layers. That way, when it's worn straight, you don't see a lot of like a layer cut. Although you can, it'll still have the movement of a layer cut. So what I like to do is I'll go back into technique a little bit, and now I'll elevate because we want to soften. We're layering, so you can layer horizontal with horizontal sections and vertical sections, but it's the elevation that makes it the layering. So I'm gonna elevate this up and maybe find like the shortest hair, the shortest part over here. I can just really cut across. Because the shortest hair is the hair that's at the top of that section, whereas the longer hair the shorter hair is the hair that's at the bottom of where the over direction is coming from. So it's traveling further. So when you measure everything from there, the longest parts or the parts that traveled shorter will now come down and give the layer. Did that go cross over?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know, like it gets real technical. I'd be like, shoot.
It's almost three-dimensional,
Yeah.
but then for the naked eye to see.
So I'm only doing a little bit. I'm gonna turn you to the left because now I need to travel a little bit over here. It's gonna be a little different now because there's less hair over in this area. So now we travel up a little further here. Okay. So then when it comes down, you didn't really disrupt your perimeter line, but you did create some layer and some movement in there. That's what I like, just subtly. My mouth's so dry, I feel like my breath. I hope it don't. I hope it don't.
Went live.
Okay.
This your voice.
Yeah, okay. Take a little seat. So I don't know if everybody can see that. So these pieces are dropping out of that barrier. Cutting. So let's see a little bit of that. That's when you start really getting into like details with the cut. And so this is enough for like one small subsection and repeat. I usually will start in the middle for my last one. Remember, it's everything that's not supposed to be in there will not travel to meet that line. So bring that all the way up. I find some shorter piece again, but kind of up in here at a certain time. I'm standing in front of that section I'm working on. I don't know if it's start to see that little layer. Now imagine that and compared to like just doing the clippers across. You know, it's just so much detail in there. And that increased the value of your service, this way. Maybe, I don't know if you want, I don't know if they can see, can they really see that? Yeah. I'm trying to move with the section, don't give me more balance. Oops. Last one here. Really, that's short, but now I probably have to find that next shortest one, which is kind of like right here.
So like every subsection you go in, you kind of like the perimeter of that subsection fall first. And next one.
I let that one fall first and then I look for the next one. With that one, and then the next one was slightly kind of that one. So we still got our line in there, but now we got so much more movement in the bottom. I feel like still this is like off or something. Go here straight. But yeah, I just feel like it's a little off. This is also where like having really straight, really sharp shears coming in. Shears that don't slide the hair in the teeth, in the mouth. In the mouth of the shear. Like your eye metrics, you could turn to the mirror temperature.
Yeah. Devin said, watch him cutting is so calming.
No, for real.
Looks like off to me, don't it? Like it's still coming down longer here. What y'all see in the mirror?
It looks so straight.
Like y'all see in the mirror? Yeah. But then like when I turn her around.
It was the other side, now it's that side.
Right, like when the mirror is still this side.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah,
Right.
you have to turn around.
Yeah, so when I turn around, I be like, thanks, don't really look like that. But yeah.
Little bit.
It's just a little bit, so that's why the mirror be your friend with certain, with these kind of situations, but like just a little bit. That's why I was saying 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's right there.
Culprit.
The code, okay? That's why, you check it before you move further, because just imagine you done did the whole Baja. Okay, now let's turn this to. You stand straight? Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's this right here.
Yeah.
It's like this, so okay. That's crazy.
Balance in that shape, you can't run away from it.
Mm-hmm. You gotta get it right now. Cause only thing gonna happen is like, when she comes back, she gonna say, yeah, my sister said it's longer in the bed. So you gonna have to correct it anyway. Right. That's better. Okay. I had to walk with me through it. Okay, now we doing our sides. Do this first part. I'm gonna have you can stand like this, but I'm gonna have you to lean to the right. You need to get all of this. Now I'll follow the comb down to meet here. Okay, now that. So we got a little bit off right here. I'm just gonna have to elevate a little bit because we want it to be more straight. And because this is like crazy with like being precise, I will adopt the antics of like not cutting past my second line. Because I want to be able to keep control of this throughout the cut. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, sections in the front, kind of like the diagonal back.
Mm.
Section in the front is almost like a diagonal back instead of.
My section in the front, I'm just making it straight across here. Now, if you have more of that graduation in the back and an angled vibe, like an A-line, you could start doing diagonal forward. Yeah, diagonal forward. And you would still keep hitting it like that. Or you would elevate to stack, But what's more contemporary now is just like that heavy line with some bezel. Is you watching for them? Because I don't think they see none of that. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
Y'all didn't see that?
They're saying that your cut is common.
Oh, okay.
They're asking, a little birdie told me that you're starting a shear line. No pressure.
I know they've been telling me too. And I'm like, it's hard to get it to shear line. You need cooperative people. I can only really do it like in a partnership. I'm not gonna be able to do it.
They say that people don't talk about this on social and it really takes time, and we got a few hearts on that.
Yeah, it does take time. Thanks, y'all. And you see how like it just makes such a difference, that angle and that, because it can look a certain way and then you put it into proper balance and you're like, okay. That's why too, all the things that you're doing as far as technique, it's scary, but like that's why the repetition of doing your technique allows you to trust your technique. Because even when it seems like you shouldn't cut, you looking at all the stuff and you're like, oh, but you know, if you did everything that you was doing, then you can trust your technique and trust it and cut. And then when you face them, it balances out the way it's supposed to. So before I finish that side, I'm gonna start to get the balance on the other side too. I don't want to get too far and then, go back. And normally too, like if I was cutting this in the salon, I would be much faster, and I would be calm. But and tilt forward. This is great because anytime you learn a new technique, you need to slow down. Yeah, if we, mhm.
How you feel? Yeah.
You feeling it so far? Good. That's where it was at. That small tilt coming back, that's where it was at. Okay, still back. Look. That's it right there. Yeah. Let's turn around to the front. Let's look this angle. Sometimes you can kind of pick it up and see where stuff might be missing. But yeah, be pretty even. Zoom. And tilt one more time. Alright. And when I'm just holding my arm more straight, I can encourage my line to be straight. Tilt. Yeah, huh? Shoot. It might be a little slightly longer too, just because this here and this top has been addressed now. Just, so it's just adding a little more hair on that side, but we just gotta match the other side now. Two. Thank you. Ouch. Gotcha. Back to the side. Go forward, hard to the side, yeah, got it. Right here. On my handboard, and just a little bit of detail, right? Did you sing straight or was it eight? You sang straight? Wow.
The song, it's like me feeling the song and then when it's low, you listen to the lyrics, you're like, what the hell? I didn't know he was saying that.
Wait, what is?
A lot of cussing, a lot of, like, what? Cause I like you like the chorus, and then you get to the verse, and you're like, wait.
I'm just kind of evening up this other side, but I feel like it's a little still off. Why do we?
See that movement.
The movement off the chain. Great job.
Okay, everybody's pretty much staying with us this entire time. I feel like it's a good time to say that we have the amino kits on sale. Greg has his own bundle, which is different from the last masterclass that we did, which didn't have the last masterclass was for the express method. So we didn't rinse. This time we added the rinse method and the moisture rich shampoo, which Greg says is critical to his perfect amino release. And it's great for the curly girls as well because it adds more moisture. So we have the boxes on sale. His link is available online for those that are online, and it has been dropped in the chat. And I'll drop it again so that you guys can get the bundle online. And then let me know, Greg, if this is a good time for Desmond to go through the products, or you're gonna clean up the cut and talk through that?
I'm gonna talk through it real quick.
Yeah. There's some questions. Yep,
Is there some questions? You can answer them.
yeah. People ask about the price point.
So it's a $150 add-on.
And then if you do the base service, it's $250.
Yeah, that's the minimum amount you want to charge for shampoo, style, and amino release. $250.
Some people are asking for a recap. So Greg prepped his model with the Detox Supreme, which is a clarifying shampoo to remove all of the buildup. And then Greg likes to use 2 washes of this to make sure that the hair is clean and the scalp is clean. Then he proceeds with 1 wash of the Moisture Rich shampoo, which is detangling, sulfate-free, color-safe, has collagen. And the Moisture Rich conditioner follows after, and he lets that sit for 5 minutes. This has moisture and strength properties. Those 3 are from the Supreme collection, which is the collagen collection. So you're gonna get that strength and moisture and the cleansing power. And you finish up with the conditioner. If your client is compromised, you can put them under the dryer for 10 to 15 minutes, or even a steamer if you have one. So after your client is complete with the shampoo and conditioner, you're gonna move into the creme boost. This is the magic. This is a leave-in conditioner. It has jojoba, guava, almond. It strengthens. It is a detangler. It is a heat protectant, and the list goes on. But the most important is it starts to fill in your porosity. It begins the pH balancing, which is dropping down, and this is a 3.5. Remember, Amino Release is at a 1.8. You're gonna layer that and work quadrant by quadrant, where you apply the creme boost first, and then you apply your Amino Release. Well, we went through this, and Greg showed it, and you saw the quadrant and how to apply, but we worked on a YouTube video yesterday, so you'll be able to see that. And then after you apply your Amino Release for 20 minutes, and you start that timer, when all 4 quadrants are complete, you go back in with the creme boost, so now you're moving up the pH, right? We went to 1.8. We're gonna move that back up after we do that light rinse for 10 seconds, and you're done. So whether you're a curly girl or you are a straight natural, that is the Amino Release. The difference now starts if you're gonna stop at the blow dry, which you need to activate and seal everything in, or if you're gonna proceed to the flat iron. So curly girls stop at the blow dry, and then we saw today was a straight natural process where we would proceed to the flat ironing.
So
You good?
what I'm doing now is I'm slightly diagonal forward and over directing that back into some of the previously layered section, so that we can have balance on these areas on the side. Pretty much just working above the vital ridge, because it's less dense. You know, you have less area of hair on these sides. So you pretty much can just stay on top of the parietal ridge from this point. Bringing that hair back, following, you know, being parallel with my section in the angle. I can see that's where those layers have started. So I just did a little point cutting. So we can diffuse the line some more. Then we just marry that into the rest of the cut. But we won't be disrupting that perimeter line that we just established. So over directing this hair back, again, another diagonal forward section. Over direct back. So we want to collect length towards the front, since it's going to get you know, you want these layers to not be as layered as this area because you have less hair in that area that you're working with. Bringing this back. You see where I cut before? Might want to have a little higher elevation. See that layer, but you still got your one line. So now I'm just kind of collecting above the bridal ridge now, and the rest of the hair that's in the front doesn't need that diagonal forward angle. I want to marry that into what I just created. So I'm over directing all this hair back. Okay. Find that top part. Okay. And this jumping off. We still have her line too.
So shiny.
Yeah. Grab this a little bit. So I think this can have a little bit more on that. So because of that, I don't have to bring this all the way back like I just did. I'm gonna see where it hits in the middle. So I can have a little bit higher layer in that area. That's pretty good. That's gonna have so much movement. Just imagine like when she just going to church. Like, okay. That's what they love. Here, see it.
I like that you haven't put anything on it yet when it comes to finish.
That part.
Yes.
Greg, I have two questions. The first one is the Amino Release System available only to professionals?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Then my second question is, how does Amino Release compare to like Brazilian blowout or?
Yeah, mine is formaldehyde. I don't think they make theirs with formaldehyde no more, but it's a keratin. So I feel like the heat with that particular type of keratin is more permanent changing of the texture.
Okay.
This one it's softer because it's amino release. It's like the amino that's doing the work instead of just straight keratin. I mean, keratin is amino acids, but ours is not the kind of keratin that they're using. I think it's a little bit more heavy duty.
Okay.
And so it's going to kind of give some permanent straightness to it. Kind of like you don't want that for some girls. They don't be like it.
Yeah, you had a slide up there that was like silk press, amino release versus keratin smoothing. You're considering like the keratin smoothing, like the Brazilian blowout, which is the more permanent curl change.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the one. Okay. Right. Yeah, the Brazilian would be in that keratin treatment category.
Okay.
And we have some curly products in the bottom. We do the class with Greg, the texture, where he's the brainchild behind the show that we're doing on September the 20th.
September 20th.
Yeah, and we will have Curve Care products, which is a rich curl foam, texture foam, rich curl gel, and a rich curl custard. For you, like for instance, your texture.
Y'all need a model? No.
It has to support that. Let's say stop when you stop right there with the curly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting the whole top right now, everything above that bridal ridge. And this is kind of like a check. One check. You see the balance up in here? Pull that up to the top to meet one angle. And we pretty much balance everything pretty good. I'm just gonna kind of cut this point off. Sometimes while the hair will have a point, you bring it here, you can just knock that point out. And of course, the more you over direct back, the more length you collect in the front.
That's so pretty.
Yeah, good job, Greg. Thank you. Nice. Thank you.
I'll be real with that balance.
Yeah.
The parting, satisfaction, yeah, it matters. It's what sets your cut apart from somebody that doesn't take those steps. So, we got that. I'll knock this out. It's real even there. All the way around. Still kept that ringer line. So she still got a one length. She could still do all the things the white girls did. Big eye. And it's giving. Okay. Giving Bob. Okay. It's giving one length like contemporary. Okay. It is good thing. That's short enough for you. Like, you can start here. Okay. All right, so now I'm just gonna put some body in here real quick, clean it up. But basically we got, like, even if she walked out the door straight, that's how she would be. And baby, no, I'm talking about no frizz like that. You know, and could you imagine, you know, that's why it's worth that upcharge, you know, because that's what she's gonna come back for. She wants the hair to give the behavior of the extensions. You know, so that's basically what she's getting, she's, you know, release. So dang, that I can't think of that. I'm just gonna go through and pull a couple of curls together. Real quick, this is the easy part. And I like it too because when I am when I smoothed out everything, I could just go through the curl. Sometimes when you are smoothing and curling, it's almost like you kind of can do a little less curl. But sometimes I'll smooth and then I'll curl in subsections like I did with the application of the amino. It was like I'll do a couple of rows and then I have a whole subsection afterwards, and then that is a curl versus curling every single one. Got my straight curl. This is bomb. It's just soft, little spreads. And it comes out, it does not disrupt that movement if you want to still keep movement. And so I kind of more so customize these curls to go with the cut. That's the only thing about that.
We cut off.
It's off all the time.
Yeah,
that's a perfect example, like what these do. Talking about how they are in the salon. You could be like moving and you go back and it'd be like, dang, it cut off. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, cover it quick.
So I'm gonna just start dragging this to get my band here.
Remember, the shape control is buildable. It can give you a soft hold, a regular and a firm. The more you spray, the firmer the hold is.
And I started to more so use this technique of like just really dragging in my curl with the flat iron. I think this also depends on size flat iron. I do it with the big one. I think this is a 1 3/4 inch. And that way I can get like this nice bend that gives them this contemporary feel, but they can wrap it. And if I don't touch it after that first, if I get that drag through good the first time, then I can not touch it and just let it set. I'm using diagonal forward parting though, that matters. And then I will go in and I do kind of like a turn, but then I do a drag. So it's like a turn, but it has to drag down. No. It's nice.
Question came in, what's the temperature of the curling flat iron?
I think this is 430. It's not 450. It's a little under. Everything that I did in the bag when we first began, I probably only did one pass, you know, and then maybe it was 2 passes when I was done with everything and I did a little extra one at the bottom. And now if I get this good with my setting, I can just do 1 pass. If you get it done good, then you don't have to do 2 passes in this process. So that's why I'll still break it down, because you want it to not go over and like get out of the grip, so that you can keep it in that 1 pass. Then I drag. You can still use your curling iron if you want to, but I don't know. I feel like curling in here takes longer. And I'll be like, man, I'm gonna be done. I'm tired now. I'm done with this.
The question came in, is the shape control a heat protector?
Yes, it is. And it also has some shine too.
What's our time?
20 minutes.
Greg, would you use that shape control on short hair too?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, I would. I like it.
To let this girl, she the one kind of was a focus group, or like your target market, what you do, she the one to test that first before we got it out there for the pixie. And then we gonna have a pixie pathway. That's gonna be a whole movement that when we come, we're gonna show you that your specialty, and we use the meaning for pixie. That's a whole focus that we master already. Yeah, we do a tour on that also. And remember, he hadn't put it in finishing shine, he hadn't put any serum on it, just the hairspray, the whole. And then we are gonna have the video up where you guys can go back and see how Greg do it from start to finish. It'll be up and once they edit it. So we did a model yesterday, so you'll see it like real time. Yes, we do. And then we're gonna have the Greg Wade up for like probably a month or so. So when you do order. Okay. Yeah. Support him too.
That girl actually really got a little bit more state control. So, all right, go on. All right. Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
And like when she just goes to wrap this at night, it gets looser and it has like this kind of, it's just not bone straight, it just kind of has this like soft bend here and there where it looked like she did the curl that morning. And I started getting into like more less severe diagonal for the front, the face. Flat iron is also held diagonal. It's not me like straight, you know, either. It's kind of like it has to have that little bend in there or that angle. Any question, really?
They say the shine is incredible. This is by far not only the best look and learn class I've ever attended. I feel so blessed to be here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It probably was good because you know I got help. But I ain't stressed thinking about every detail. Do you imagine putting together your own classes and then you got to make sure everybody accounted for on the ticket roster, and then you got to start the class, then you got to finish and do the content, get your before and afters. Even with just one assistant, that's still hard. So you being kind of like that team operations. Now it can be tricky, so I have to kind of reform that angle I had on that other side so that this matches. I even have to make sure that my drag is the same. Because it's gonna be slightly different. Because in the back and in these areas, I still kind of have more of a severe slant diagonal too. And then I have more of a grit turn right at the root. And I started to drag from there down.
There was a question. Can you speak on compromised colored hair and amino?
Right, so the Amino is actually going to improve that color here, but not totally repair it, you know, back to normal. It's still compromised because it is curly. I mean, it is, I was looking at that curl. Because it is color treated hair. So because it's color treated hair, it's still compromised. But when you put that amino release in there, what it can do is fill in the parts of the strand that have been gone missing, which is really what we call damaged hair. Parts of that bond or that structure, strand structure is missing. And so the amino release can come in and fill in those pockets, but it's still just a temporary thing because the amino rinses out, it releases out of the air. So keeping one in kind of can help that hair be supported as it collects length too.
Thank you. Pretty, like, it's getting very sophisticated, very sophisticated.
And so now I will still do my saran wrap. But the difference here is that when you use a wide tooth comb instead of like a paddle brush for this wrap initially, if you want to preserve a little bit more of the body, you can do it that way instead of with a paddle brush. The paddle brush is gonna like just really have no air pockets, you know, but you can afford to have a view in this case. So you can use a loose tooth comb to wrap it. And this really is just gonna help seal the cuticle even more, which is what I like. It gives it that really nice finish. And so it was already glass. Now, don't shake your head off.
You saran under the dryer, you using hand dryer.
Hand dryer. I ain't got time there. Once I'm dead, once we didn't got this far together, I'm ready for you guys. Like, let me just do 5 more, or not even 5 minutes, let me do a second. But that's a ram wrap compared to you sit over here 10 more minutes. Too much opportunity to say other stuff. Too much opportunity for me to still gotta check you. Right, you could have been gone, and I'm stopping the curve. To put you in 2 weeks from now. You know, I like it. We this far, when you get up out the chair, you up. You gotta sit back down. And I feel like the Glad wrap, this is not Glad wrap. So I like the Glad wrap because it cleaned. This one don't clean, so I gotta be extra.
What?
Yeah. But then as I go, I will take out my clips. It is good enough, the direction, same direction. Should be good. Now, this is my added theme for all the finishes. Even if I didn't did a bust down, I have to wrap it. I could curl that extension here, and I'm still about to saran wrap the other line. But then you just cannot be that finish. Like it can be weave, it can be regular hair,
I've
whatever.
never seen that.
Oh yeah, you do a full song in and still do a saran wrap on it, baby. Talk about the real hair blending in. That's a nice trick. You gotta be more careful because you gotta like really, it's like you scrape it to come, you know. But and then you probably will need that paddle, right? So it's gonna collect more of the hair. You don't have to really do this part too long. I just have a feeling for it, like how long I've been doing it. But even if I stop right now, you will be good. So it don't have to be long. But the thicker the hair, the little bit more time you want to put on it. And if you felt like it was a little too curly anyway, you could put a little bit more on there. Or you could just go ahead and do this and put them under the dryer for 10, 15 minutes. But I feel like as quick as this was, the dryer, that was equivalent to how I did this with dryers, 15 minutes. Because sooner, sometimes it don't have the same, you take it out the oven too quick. Ooh. What Beyonce say? Take the plastic. Take plastic off. Now I can do a little bit of. Now still ain't even picked up. No oil, no gloss, nothing. Okay. Hold up. Let me just open it out before I put that on there. Because some people, they be so fine, they don't need nothing. And then they oily too, just on GP, like regardless, they oily. So if they don't have nothing, they'll have this.
Okay.
Then down and just kind of let it fall where it's gone.
Is the dryer on cool air? Someone asked, and we know it's hot, right?
Hot.
Hot dryer.
The hottest. The hottest.
Okay, some product questions came in and maintenance questions. So is there anything the client shouldn't do between visits? And you could wash right away.
Filling in.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Pretty. Yes, I do. Now, that's part two, you could open up the face if you want to give more of that bevel, you know? How you feel about a little shorter in the front? I'm okay with whatever. So I'll just.
Is this what you were envisioning?
Okay, oh, good. Little triangle, end of eyebrow to whatever point that comes to in the head. And then from that same point on the other side to the end of the eyebrow. Get a nice even triangle. So this point, we just kind of open up the face. You can tilt up just slightly. So my first initial cut is bringing this down really low first. I'm keeping in mind she's very curly now, so we can't do too much. But I'm gonna keep it right there, maybe about at the nose, a little longer. And I can cut kind of like a little triangle right in the middle. You can carve it out how much you want to, or you can make it straight. I feel like when it's straight, you be having to make that side more severe. So if you start off with a little bit of angle in the beginning, you kind of don't have to do that. And so then that same thing, you want to hit it this way too. Elevate. So elevation, of course, is going to do soften.
That was a pop quiz.
I know. Pop quiz real quick. I wasn't expecting that. So you see that softness coming in. Now we just marry it to the side, but marry it to the side with diagonal sections and over direction again. So this is my guide over here. And of course, whatever doesn't come to meet doesn't have to be cut. See, this why I still charge what I do, 'cause look at my bag. Bent
I
up,
told him a minute ago.
trying to get all that in there. But then you have more of that,
It's nice. You can see the difference right away.
and then also you can elevate that this way too. Kind of put that little chunk right there. Just kind of softly add that in now. So then now it's even more softer. No. So, but really, once you get those fundamentals, you know, on your techniques, then you use the techniques from that point to be creative. You just have to apply them where they apply to make sense. Some of that here won't travel that far, and it will start to drop out. Yeah, that's elevate too. Softness.
Pretty.
And I like that little flip out right there. Oh, on the video. You know what's so funny? Is like 2 years ago for the cut party, I did that. Now everybody doing that flip. Because I remember like when I posted it, people was in the comments like, I don't like that flip though. You could have left without that flip. It's a little matronly. Well, I did.
I can't hear.
That's what I felt was good currents and on trend. But I was like, oh yeah, Atlanta is a little catch up sometimes. But now everybody getting in like that loop in the front too. I said, okay then, y'all, okay. But yeah, so you have like this little flip that happens at the bottom, but it's still like once it can be wrapped because once it's wrapped, because you went in that way, it's still gonna be curved towards this when it falls. So she still will get those different shapes that come out of it as it gets older too. And then this would be two where you add maybe your dry texture spray or something like that, just for a little bit more volume or something. And I like to use just a little bit of I think it's in the back. This is like a little black harder case that's in the back. I'm gonna show you all that and then we're done. Because I like to put this on first and then my peanut at the end. It's black. Is it not here? So this dry texture spray, and sometimes when you can't use a whole bunch of oils and glosses and that kind of thing, you still are wanting to have your dry products. That's where they come in. So this is just a little dry texture spray. It's not holding spray, it's dry texture. And I can just kind of move through and get it in that root a little bit. And this just gives it a little bit more lift in, you know. And I can take my comb from that point and just brush everything kind of more elevated. Oops, sorry. And so got that fullness a little bit more too, more lived in like fullness. And then from here, because I'm done with all that, and like my last product normally is just my sheen or something. Because sometimes it might not need, and you have to be okay, and the client has to learn to be okay too, with not having that shiny, super perfect, everything in place kind of finish. Like it's hair, you know, so just like let it be natural and flow. The cut is the foundation, the service and the color, you know, it should have a position of being more loose and versatile, you know, carefree or lived in. And then, but it could be also a LA thing, you know, you gotta go with your market. And now I'll add a little gloss. And I was just doing that in the air because when it hit, it hit. So it looked like it didn't hit yet, but you know, so be careful with your crystal gloss because you don't want it to be too heavy. One thing is like it's extremely light. You just don't want it to look heavy either. So you just gotta be careful for that carefree girl. So any questions so far yet? No? She also could go for some edge control. You could do edge control if you want to. I feel like the edges usually kind of clean up after the first wrap. And then kind of just go straight anyway over time. So, you know what probably would be cute too, because you cut everything with a balance, it's even. You can have that side part too. If you want that deep side. That deep side, you still got that boom, you know. You got that as a look too. That's nice right there too. Mm-hmm. Okay. Little later. And now the great thing about that, because you did fundamentals, you can have that same versatility on the opposite side. You should be able to. Deep part. That's nice. You know. So you got both sides that you can play with. To have this side a little deeper than I had already put it on that side, but you can see what I'm talking about. So it should be able to be worn either way. And I'm thinking what we kind of like this side right here. And sometimes you do that curved one too, where you have a little bit of this hair. Because sometimes this little peak be getting in the way of they, like it be falling. So sometimes you can kind of give a little bit of that, but it's still a deep part. And all that can go here. You know, when she got all of this jumping off. Then you have the side finish. Get the kind of hair at the bottom in there. Just let this kind of fall. And the difference too is that this side, or wherever that part is, that side can go straight and then move over. Because if you try to keep doing this, and then you try to do like one of these all the time, it's borderline matronly. What make it more contemporary is just kind of pulling that side down more smooth and now letting it go as a side wire. You know, that's the difference between like auntie and cuz. Okay. Be important now. Okay. So that is it. We're gonna get some after photos. You called me at the end. Okay. I was like, oh, she must gotta work.
Working next door.
Okay, you take this off. And then, do you like it this way? Like with the side part? Okay, or did you like the middle part? Did you see it good? Okay, I know, cause it was like, this way more universal, stay out your face. The other one gon', be sweating. It's gonna be moving.
I like the middle.
I like the middle too.
Yeah. Sorry.
Mhm.
Play a little.
Every day.
It's crazy how it's different, now from when she first started.
Right.
You know,
It's nice.
That's not missing the layers that.
Ready?
yeah.
Nice.
True. Thanks, where we doing the after pictures at?
We're
Uh,
out and outside.
okay. Is it warm in here? You sweaty?
I'm okay.
Okay.
It's warm outside.
It's warm outside? Okay, let's take the pictures at the top first. And then take some pictures outside.
All right, everyone on Zoom,
Any questions on Zoom, y'all?
208.
What y'all think? We didn't even hear. What y'all think?
Beautiful, Greg. Love it. Nice. Beautiful. Very cute, pretty. Beautiful class. Love it.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
Just remember that pie.
Are we ending with anything?
Yeah. There's 58 people still on.
58 people. Hey, y'all. So happy that I came.
People are placing their order. Awesome class. So if there's any, do you want to see us? So if there's any questions, everyone, we're able to still answer. We're going to stay on with Greg. Greg, you want to stay behind the chair? You want to sit?
I mean, I can, they can see me, but I see y'all. That's the end of the class, y'all.
Okay, I'm gonna stay on.
I mean, yeah.
I'll stay on to talk about product. If anyone has any questions. These are all of the products that we have here. So we have all the products available and we can talk through it. What comes in your kit is the Moisture Rich shampoo, the Detox Supreme, which we're gonna start with, and then the Moisture Rich conditioner. I know some orders have been placed. From a maintenance perspective, sulfate-free is best. But yes, if you complete the form that's within the order, you'll be able to get your certification. So if you scroll down on Greg's bundle kit, there's going to be a form that you fill out.
Can you send us the link in our emails if we register, if we don't get it out of the chat?
It's going to be a reply. So I thank you, okay. Then it will be in there too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm gonna roll through this again. If anybody missed it, we start with the Detox Supreme. So this is the clarifying shampoo that has guava, collagen, and coconut. So this gives you a gentle cleanse. And Greg likes to start with 2 washes. Can you pass me the Moisture Rich shampoo? Then we have the Moisture Rich shampoo, which is sulfate-free. And the conditioner that goes with this is what you want to reach out to your clients. That's the aftercare, that's a must. The Creme Boost is the next product in the system. After you would condition for 5 to 10 minutes, you can follow up with the Creme Boost. So the creme boost is a leave-in conditioner. You can use it on wet or dry hair. And this is gonna give you, the boost is fire. Okay, we got some customers on the line. And this is moisturizing. It's a heat protectant. It's great on wet hair because it'll maintain your moisture. And then we use this with the Amino Release. Once the hair is in quadrants, we apply the creme boost first by quadrant, and then we follow up with the Amino Release. This we apply based on density and their length. So watch the YouTube video to get more. We went over that today. After you do all 4 quadrants, if you're going for a straight natural client, you just rinse for 10 seconds. And then you'll come back with the creme boost. Now the heat protective properties come into play. With the moisture, you rebalance, so you get that pH back up for that 1.8. This is a 3.5, so living in a natural realm of hair. And then, if it's required, you would go to your blow dry and flat iron. You may stop at the blow dry, and that's where the creme boost is important. Or you go to the flat iron after. But I'm staying on to answer because I see we still have everybody on. Are there any questions? Let me get my chair. Okay, so in the bundle, in the box, you're gonna get the Detox Supreme, the Moisture Rich Shampoo, the Moisture Rich Conditioner, the Creme Boost, and that's the 5 products. It's different from the bundle that we featured in the last masterclass, which came with the crystal gloss, because Greg sees the shine. Yep, Greg's bundle. I'm dropping the link again. This is Greg's bundle. I already see some orders coming in.
I have a question.
Yes, I'm here to answer.
So in my previous use with amino acid treatments, the pump tends to get clogged. So I'm just wondering, like with the amino release, have you guys ever experienced that with the pump getting clogged?
Yeah, the company actually picked a very particular pump for this. And we found that some of the others, like, it depends on the formulation. It would get like kind of watery or gunky. That's kind of what you're getting at, right?
Yes, and the pump, it
This
wouldn't
formula
work.
doesn't have it. It has particular like foaming where it stays foam. And then it provides just enough for you to use it. But we haven't had anybody say that because this formula doesn't have a lot of buildup. So whether you just stop at the blow dry and don't rinse, or you go to do the rinse, we see that there's no buildup with this. Like I don't know if you guys are watching, there was like no smoke, not that crazy smoke, and that's from all that buildup. So that kind of tells you if you have that problem where it's getting gunky and it's really sticky, it will probably give a lot of buildup.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So for the launch of this class, and we target who's coming to the site, you want to sign up as a Rich Pro to be able to get the pro pricing on all the other products. We're launching the Greg's bundle on the main part of the page. So you can get your certification after. So you can enroll as a Rich Pro, but we didn't want to add any friction to be able to get Greg's kit for the masterclass, but be sure to enroll in Rich Pro because it's going to go to the private section for professionals only. So that after this class, professionals will be the only one that can see us. So we do not ship unless someone is certified. So be sure to enroll as a Rich Pro and be certified. Call and follow up with everyone to make sure that they're ready for the kit and that they're professional while we have this bundle that's open. Okay. After the 20-minute rinse for 10 seconds or curly or natural straights, rinsing is a permanent step now. So there's 2 ways that you can complete this. You can do the express method, which is no rinse, or you can do the method where you rinse it out, which is the foundational method that Greg went over today. So it's options that you have, and you can decide which one is better for you. If you're the type of person that is very particular, light-handed, maybe need to move faster, be aware of how much you're using, and you don't have to rinse. And if you're doing curly, you don't have to rinse because you're just gonna go to the blow dry. And you're probably gonna rinse or put water on it to get it back wet. If you're gonna do a wash and go or a wet style. So we don't have to double rinse, if you know what I mean. So if you're straight natural, you can go ahead, re-engage with the water, rinse off the excess because you want your hair flowy, silky, and you get a better finish that way.
So we rinse off the excess.
Did I answer that okay? Any questions? All right. So the foam is actual amino release. Yeah. The foam is the amino release. And it stays on for 20 minutes. That's the amount of time that it takes to saturate and activate. We talked about that amino acid complex. That's dual. That's working on the cuticle for the larger part. And it's also going into the cortex. It takes 20 minutes to do that process. I believe that everything is coming up as shop $140. Yes, $139.95 for Greg's bundle, which has 5 products. It has 2 shampoos, 1 conditioner, a leave-in, and the foam. I believe you might already be approved if you did it over the weekend. So just refresh and make sure that you're logging in with that same email, but you should have the pro price. And we are going to reply via email with a thank you. It will include the bundle. And as time goes on, I know you get all the information because we're working on the YouTube that Greg shot just yesterday. So that's the production. Okay, for the curly girls, there's a question. Would you just blow dry and do a wet set? What does it do to the curl again? Does it loosen or elongate it? So when the amino release is on it, it smooths the cuticle, which also helps it elongate, and it will loosen the curl. But how loose the curl is dependent on the heat that you use. You can proceed to blow dry and flat iron if you want. If you want to lose the curl, they pretty much maintain their same exact curl pattern, maybe within like 20%. So it's not really noticeable. If you want a noticeable elongation, then you want to flat iron it. Okay. Any other questions? See some questions still coming in. Thanks for staying with us on these 46. So you'll get your certification in 1 to 2 business days. You're welcome. Okay. Will the instructions be listed up there? Yes. And I'm going to drop in, since we still have a lot of people, the YouTube video that has the express, and you guys can be able to see that. And this is going to be a playlist for pros that you guys can go to. So Greg's video is going to be here as well. And remember, this one is the express method that's already on the YouTube, but I'll share this with you so you guys see it. And then you guys can follow the channel for videos drop.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, if you sent it in today, it'll definitely be reviewed. There's been a lot of people wanting to become pro. I think the YouTube video, since it's going to be in editing, probably a week and a half, we'll have that. But this is the channel. You guys can see it. There's one video up now, and then I'll make sure that you guys get the unlisted playlist, so you guys have the pro version. Greg's bundle comes with shampoo, which is showing me it comes with 5 products. It comes with 5 products. It's going to be 2 shampoos, 1 conditioner, a creme mousse, which is your leave-in conditioner, and you'll also get the amino. You're welcome. Okay, and let me make sure you guys have the unlisted playlist. Marcel, can you pass me that phone? Thank you. Okay, type of shampoo, it's best to use sulfate free because this lasts from 8 to 12 weeks, depending on how many washes. And if you're washing with very rigorous shampoo, anything could like help strip it. But with the products that come with Texture Rich is made for the system, and you can elongate your service. The fix, this is another professional treatment, the protein boost. This helps elongate your service using it with creme boost. Yes, you can pick up products at our storefront. We have 2 locations in Atlanta. One is in Austell. That's the bigger one. It's right across from Cosmo Pro. And you can also shop online on texturerich.com. We definitely recommend the Moisture Rich shampoo because it has collagen. There's a lot, it's across from Cosmo Pro. This is Pro Beauty Direct. So Pro Beauty Direct is the biggest multi-texture professional distribution company. We find that the other stores, they don't really carry a large amount of products for us. And that's what we do. So Moisture Rich Conditioner is a great option for the follow-up to extend your treatment. Your retail is pretty much your insurance option, right? It's your insurance package, so the money that your customers spend and the time that you spend is going to maintain your service. They can come back and get silk press and still do that, but the treatment of having their hair be frizz-free, humidity resistant, is going to last for the 12 weeks. Yep. So this is the add-on that you can do at the 6-week mark. At 6 weeks, you can come with the protein. So it's a diluted version of the Amino Release. We call it Amino Release Little Sister. And this will help with the humidity resistance. This washes out faster. It's not the same as Amino Release. It doesn't go as deep. But this will help get you through, especially if folks are swimming, if there's a lot of gym activity and a lot of sweat. Protein is great at the 6-week mark. So you use the protein boost with the creme boost, and then there's numbers on each one. So creme boost is first, and then protein boost is second. So if you ever shop here, you see the numbers here. It's a number 1 and number 2. Different from a lot of protein treatments that are on the market. This is a leave-in, so you don't have to wash it out. You would put on the protein after you put on your moisturizing, which is very different. Sometimes they get hard and then you loosen it. We don't have that problem. It's strengthening. It's great to add. $75 treatment with just 4 to 6 sprays. Yep. So after 12 weeks, you can feel the difference. Everything depends on how your client is washing their hair, but you're going to reapply to the entire strand. And you can see, you can feel it. If it's not there, you feel the difference. So you wouldn't just do it on a new growth, and you do it on the entire strand. The only times we're doing new growth is with the transitioning client. So after 12 weeks, the treatment has washed out. You can feel the curl pattern go back to how it was. You can see the difference in the feel of the hair, and you apply it just like you did the first time. Any other questions? Thanks for staying on, guys. What happens if it's applied to relaxed hair? It's not going to damage it, but it's not made for it. So the same type of benefits that we can guarantee with natural hair is different when the disulfide bond is broken. And the amount that it has shifted in terms of bond science for relaxed hair is very different. You'll get benefits for colored hair, but with relaxed hair, it tends to be just it's a strengthening, but it's not as beneficial as if they were natural. So we recommend transitioning clients, but it's not going to hurt. But from a company perspective, we recommend using it for transitioning clients because you don't get the same benefits. Okay. What if the clients use a different brand of shampoo that's sulfate free? It's good. That's a good start to be sulfate free, but we won't be able to guarantee the 12 weeks. But it is best to be sulfate free, to give them what they need, like especially for their scalp. We have carbon ice, which I think it just got sold. But this is the rosemary ice conditioner is blue, the carbon ice, if you're on the website. Carbon ice is carbon, it's activated charcoal. And even though that is detoxifying, it still can maintain your treatment. So it all depends, but it's hard market to guarantee like what another product line would do. But of course, you know, clients already have things at home. If you can retail it, okay, the retail ones were sold too. If you can retail it, that'd be best for your clients to get that insurance. Okay, can you overlap another amino treatment with SCS after the 12-week mark? Yeah, it's best to make sure that if you are on a different system, that there's enough new growth to transition it. Because if that system isn't fully washed out, you may be double dipping. So you want to be careful there. But of course, people want to switch. We always recommend like make sure that their timer is finished, especially for wash off. But you wouldn't want to do something similar if it is something that is permanent effect. You want to wait till it's fully out of the hair, and then you'll apply it and you start correcting the texture. So don't apply amino to the ends if the client has relaxer on it. We recommend that you use it on the transitioning pieces, that new growth, so you're able to help with that transitioning part where it is extremely weak and where the relaxed hair meets the natural hair. This product is not available at CosmoPro. It is available at Pro Beauty Direct in store, and it's on TextureRich.com. We are Pro Beauty Direct. We do the fulfillment for Texture Rich. So we sell the products to our in-salon clients on our salon routes, but it's also available on TextureRich.com if you're not in a Pro Beauty Direct area. So for the package we just purchased, will there be access to a retail list? Yes, in retail, all the prices that you see online, except for this bundle, because we're launching this AMU certification, is the retail price, and that's what you must sell it to. Yes, the guide is going to show.
You're gonna go to the channel, okay? Let's see here. I'm painting is in the
and how you should retail to your clients.
Here,
Will there be other classes on other online? Great question. We have a silk press boost class that's coming up, and that features the protein boost. We have a carbon ice class that's coming up.
You want to put your feet up for your legs?
For scalp therapy.
Yeah.
We have a lot of psychologists that like that. And
All the way back.
miss the class, can I watch it later? We cannot promise a replay. That question has come up a lot. I have to ask Texture Rich because they've sponsored that. That's why I wasn't able to answer.
Now we're gonna find you paint.
I will be able to reply back and let you guys know. Can we find these classes on the website? I think it's coming. And it'll be through Texture Rich. The more that we book and have educators, it'll be posted. But you definitely want to be following us on social media. So Texture Rich is one to follow, and Pro Beauty Direct. There shouldn't be a wait list to sign up to enroll in Rich Pro. You can enroll in Rich Pro, and it takes some time, but you'll get an email. And if you log back in, if you don't get an email, because I don't do TextureRich.com, but if you don't get an email, you should be able to refresh, and you'll be in as a Rich Pro and see all of the prices. I'm so glad you guys are staying on with us. I'm here if you have any questions. Thanks for following. I know that I think there's a live that's gonna come up. Yep, Creme Loose is included. You get 5 products, and I'll make a note so that all the products are listed. But you're gonna get the detox cream. It's gonna be the 9-ounce size. I know I'm showing this, but it's already sold. So you get the detox cream, which is the clarifying shampoo. You get the Moisture Rich shampoo, which is sulfate free, and it's moisturizing and detangling. Then you get the Moisture Rich conditioner. You get the Creme Boost, and you get the Amino Release. So you get 5 products. Okay. Any other questions? All right, thanks, Julia. We'll be getting that out for you.
Okay.
I'll stay for a little bit. If there are any other questions that come up. Okay, guys, well, thank you. Thank you for joining. Thanks for staying on. We appreciate all of you. And I'll just hang out for maybe one more minute if anything comes up. The YouTube page is actually on Texture Rich.
I got you, and I need that.
Texture Rich YouTube is gonna drop all of the in-salon training. I think that's the last thing I pasted in, so let me get that link for you.
Are we still gonna, you gotta do after pictures? Thank you.
Yeah.
Drop them.
Oh, well, guys, I'm being requested. Do some after photos. Thanks for staying. Be sure to follow Pro Beauty Direct, Texture Rich on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And please enroll as a Texture Rich Pro so you can get your pro prices. And then you can also follow us for more information on classes. Be sure to get Greg's Masterclass bundle. Yep. It goes to Greg and you get to use it exactly how he does. Stay tuned for the Pro Beauty Direct and Texture Rich YouTube collaboration. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Live on the class Monday. On September the 20th.
Oh yeah, be sure to come to Atlanta to relive more than this masterclass. You get 10 artists. Greg is a creative director. You'll be able to see all that hair cutting live, and we bring it to life through a presentation. You get a vibe, open bar. It's nothing like it. It's like you're in the salon at night with your favorite artist. So come through.
Really cute.
So come through.
It is our interpretation of fashion, ready to wear hair, ready to wear black hair for fall, winter 2027. We'll be having the spring, summer collection in March. But part of the Pro Beauty Direct Live is this collection where you see some of that being done live, like the cutting and styling, but then you'll see some added artists who will just be contributing work to the final presentation, which will be a runway show, ending with a surprise model that we're really excited about, but you're gonna be like, oh my God, what? As they come down this runway. So it's gonna be good, y'all.
Yep, so get your tickets. That's on Pro Beauty Direct. Yep, it's in Atlanta.
It's in Atlanta, September 20th.
Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, y'all, we gotta go. Y'all good?
Bye-bye.
I appreciate y'all. Bye. Okay, y'all.